What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another amazing Naruto story. What if Naruto meets his salvation? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description box to original creator of this beautiful creation. Naruto's POV. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, I am 6 years old. I have zero family and zero friends. Most of my life I've been alone, and the villagers have always been giving me this look, saying to go away, but I just don't know why. Why do they always see me like I'm a freak? I'm Naruto Uzumaki and I'm human too. Right? I was on my way home from the academy when something weird happened. Up in the sky, there was some kind of blue like whirlpool. The villagers in the area who saw it were terrified, scared of it being another attack on the village. So like what all people do, they ran away in all directions screaming, while the village ninjas ran to the scene ready to fight. I was staring up to the sky when I saw something fall. By the looks of it, it looked like a human. When the human figure fell to the ground, I wanted to go and see, so I ran into the direction of the commotion to get a better view. When I snuck past the ninjas who were on crowd control, I could see finally what was going on. Ninjas were surrounding a figure in a blue and black hoodie jacket with no sleeves, a white scarf, gray pants, a black long sleeve shirt and black and red boots. This stranger's face was covered by the hood, so I couldn't see it. By the looks of it the stranger was about to say something but everyone started to attack. The stranger was on the defense, trying not to get hit by any of the kunais heading his way. Then one ninja threw a paper bomb at him, but only for it to miss. Now the same paper bomb is heading in my direction. It hit and destroyed the building behind me. It started to crumble and fall as pieces of it rained down. I tried to run but tripped on one of the fallen rubbles. The building was going to crush me, there's no way out. But at least I won't be a nuisance anymore. No more village, no more stairs, no more loneliness. I thought to myself. But despite that, in the last moment I wished to live, I wanted to live. Looking up at the falling pieces of the building that's about to kill me, I closed my eyes waiting for the impact. But then, nothing. I slowly opened my eyes and before me was the stranger in the hood. He was holding a giant piece of rubble on his back protecting me from it and later pushed it away. Once cleared he kneeled towards me. Hey kid, are you alright? Did you get hurt? The stranger asked me in a concerned tone. I then just nodded at him as a reply saying I was fine. He looked at me smiling as if he was relieved. He was relieved that I was okay? I thought to myself in wonder. The stranger didn't seem like a bad person, in fact he was nicer than any of the villagers. His presence was warm and comforting, I felt safe around him. But right before I knew it, other ninjas came and took the stranger down while he was distracted by me. He tried to get out of all their grips, struggling in his attempts, but he wasn't able to escape after being knocked out by one from behind. I ran up to them trying to get them to let him go, but being a 6-year-old kid, no one listens to you, especially me. Let him go, I shouted as my attempts to get them off him fails. One of them pushes me away as I fall down and he looked at me. It's you, you're the one the enemy saved, he said in disgust. You should have just died, you demon foe. He stopped with his eyes wide open. Two pair of hands touched me on the shoulders as I looked behind to see Gramps. Lord Third Eye can explain, the man stuttered. Save it, take him out of my sight, Gramps ordered as two ninjas took the man that pushed me away. I turned to Gramps as he helped me up, then looked down to the stranger. Gramps, please don't hurt him, please Gramps, please, I said with all my might. Gramps just looked at me and said, don't worry Naruto, I'll make sure that he won't be harmed, you have my word. But sir, look at all the damage this stranger has caused, the ninjas said. Now if I recall, this stranger did no such thing, instead it was one of our own who in fact caused the damage and got a civilian in danger. But also it was this stranger who saved him as well, so in my eyes you all are held responsible. Gramps said with anger lanced in his tone. All of them looked at each other, ashamed. Gramps then looked at me and said, alright Naruto, it's time to go home now. But Gramps, don't worry, I will talk to you later, now go. Then he ordered some other ninja to take me home and make sure I go. When I arrived home it was dark out and lot has happened today. I hope that stranger is okay? I'll go and see Gramps tomorrow and ask. After that thought I lay down in bed and fell asleep. Caitlin's POV. Okay, now it's my turn. My name is Caitlin Gregg, I appear as 14 years old, but really I'm 15-14. Yeah, I'm old, but never mind that. It wasn't long before I found the gem that will open the portal to a new world and help my friends, before I had to say goodbye to them. Jumping into the portal with a childish, how? I was surrounded by a void of blue. The portal was like going through a water slide, a lot of fun. Except for the part where I fall from an incredible high height like right now. Wahhhhhhhhh. I screamed while falling, of course, but luckily I landed on my 2 feet, unlike those other times where the landing could have been better. She falls on her face and butt a lot. When looked up I found myself surrounded by a bunch of ninjas. Usually I'd be totally excited about this, but they all seemed to be hostile and looking at me like an enemy. Stay calm, maybe they can be talked to. Hi th. I tried to speak, but before I could finish, they instantly attacked me. Nope, forget that plan. I dodged all their attacks, going on the defensive even as they started throwing kunais, because I don't want to hurt them, because hurting people without the facts never end well. When one throws some kind of paper at me, I wondered why they'd throw something like that, but being on the safe side I decided to just dodge it. Good thing too, because after that, it hit a building and exploded. What kind of paper was that? I yelled in shock and excitement. Well, at least I didn't get hit by that. I sighed in relief, but as I looked harder at the explosion, I caught a glimpse of bright yellow. What is that? Focusing harder, squinting my eyes in the process, I saw a mop of blonde hair and the boy it's attached to. He was running from the now collapsing building until he tripped. Oh no. Without much thought in that moment I ran as fast as I could to the kid and stopped the falling building from killing him. Using my body to block the rubble, it lasted for only a minute until I felt it safe to push the former building away. Once it was clear I kneeled to the kid, checking for any injuries on him. Hey kid, are you alright? Did you get hurt? Looking down, I stared into big blue eyes. He just stared and finally nodded as a reply. I took that as good sign and smiled in relief, thank goodness. But stupid old me forgot that I was avoiding a bunch of ninjas not so long ago, and it didn't sink in until they tackled me down. As I was held down in their grips, struggling to get free, one of them struck me from behind and knocked me out. Before the blackness consumed my mind, I think I could hear the kid shouting something, but I couldn't tell what it was. And that's when I was completely out. Caitlin's POV. When I came to, I woke up in a dungeon with rocky walls and a wooden bar door. I sat up trying to think of what just happened. Oh, that's right, now I remember. I got captured by those ninjas after I saved that kid from before. I muttered to myself. I didn't really care too much about being captured. If that kid was safe, then I'm fine. When I looked around I realized something was missing. I touched my left hip, and it was gone, my sword. My sword is gone, I exclaimed in frustration. Damn, of course they'd take it, I cursed. Wait, did they also? I searched my inside jacket pocket to see if it was in there, and thank God it was. Inside my jacket was a pocket watch. All you need to know right now about it is that this pocket watch is very important to me. I sighed in relief that they didn't take it also. Well, now I better just go get my sword back. I stood up from my spot, checking the cage. Looks easy enough to break through. I then got ready to smash the bars down until I heard footsteps. With that, I decided to delay that plan until later. I waited for whoever it was to come. So for some random reason I put my hood back on just to be safe, but also to look cool. The footsteps came closer and closer until eventually a man stood at my cell door. It was another ninja, I think? He was a big guy wearing a bandana over his head, scars were visible on his face, and he had a pretty scary look in his eyes. He just stared at me with his scary gaze, then spoke. So you are the one who made all the ruckus in the village. What is it that you want? Why are you here? Did one of the other hidden villages send you, and what is your mission? I gave a blank face. Look man, I don't want anything. I came here by accident, and I don't know what you mean by hidden villages. I said truthfully with a serious face. He just looked at me in the eyes. One more question? He breathed out. Why did you save the boy before? Huh? Face with raised eyebrow. Just answer the question. Why? He demanded. Why else? Because he was a kid in danger. I exclaimed as if it were obvious. During that explosion, you had an opportunity to escape. Why did you not take it? Explained Scarface. Because that kid's life was more important than my escape. Escape is easy. I can do that anytime I want, but a person's life should never be taken lightly. After my outburst, he continued to stare. I was a little confused about his question. I mean, come on, it's obvious. This conversation was bothersome. I wanted it to end and thank God again, 'cause he answered my prayer. A fellow ninja came with some urgent news. Sir, Lord Third needs to speak to you, it's important. Then after that he whispered the rest in the big guy's ear. Whatever it was, got his attention and left me saying, I'll be back. He looked to the other occupant. You stay and keep an eye on the prisoner. Yes sir. A minute or two pasted and I deemed it finally time to escape. I walked up to the wooden bar door to talk to the ninja. Hey. Over here. What is it? The ninja's gaze was upon me. I pulled out my pocket watch and he took a defensive position. I smirked and swung the pocket watch side to side. The ninja looked at the pocket watch and that's when I started. Your eyelids are getting sleepy, you're falling into a deep sleep when I click my fingers. You're going to open this door and let me go free and then tell me where I can find my sword. Once that's done you're going to forget everything after 30 minutes when I click my fingers again. Now 1 2 3, click. Then just like that, I was finally free. The hypnotism worked as planned. She learnt that little trick from a magician friend from another world. I could have broken out with force just as easily, but this way works just as well. I then started running after the ninja let me out, thinking that I was awesome but then realized. Ah man, I forgot to ask for directions to the exit. I face-palmed for forgetting such a simple thing. There was no time to go back now. I ran too far too fast, so I just continued running until I eventually find my way out, hopefully. Third Hokage's Pav. Ha ha ha, this stranger sure is an interesting one. I wonder what you will do now. I said while look at my crystal ball, spying on the stranger to see what he will do next. Then thought back to Naruto pleading for the stranger's safety. This stranger catched my interest, but that will have to wait. Then finally Ibiki arrived. Lord Third, you summoned me? Ibiki said as he came in. Yes, I have a mission for you. A ninja who broke the law has escaped prison and is now searching for the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. I want you to find him and stop him. If he becomes a problem you can put him down. I said in a serious tone. The last thing I want is for Naruto, Minato and Kushina's son to be killed. It's the last thing I want after all the pain he's been going through. I tried to be there for him as much as I could, but it's not enough. Yes sir, but I would like to talk about the stranger who arrived yesterday. Ah, yes, what do you think? Was he after the Jinchuriki like you thought? No, I had my suspicions before, but after talking to him in person, there's no doubt that he just went and saved a kid in danger. The look in his eyes was something I haven't seen in a long time. He claims that he came here by accident. Well now, I can't wait until I talk to him face to face. I said with a smirk on my face, this stranger could be the answer I've been praying for. I'll be on my way now sir. Then he disappeared. Caitlin's Pav. Okay, so I'm run to who knows where, still lost. I kept running and running until BAMM. Something bumped my leg and when I turned to see what it was, to my surprise, it was that kid from before, the blonde-haired kid. Hey, it's you again, what are you doing here? I said in surprised, then stretched out my hand to the kid because he seemed to hit the ground pretty hard. He grabbed my hand and heaved himself up. So, you going to answer my question, kid? I asked. I came to break you out of here. He said with a smile on his face. You know you're going to get yourself into trouble, right? And what about your parents? I said with concern. I don't have any, a family that is, but we better get going now, come on I know the way out. He said then turned around and pointed into the direction of the exit. Then from there, we finally made it out, though what he said kept going through my head. Naruto's Pav. Flashback. I woke up around 10 o'clock, damn, I overslept. I soon got ready to go and see Gramps, to ask him how the stranger is doing, so out the door I went. When I got to the Hokage's building there was a commotion around the place and they sent me away, but I need to see Gramps. You heard me kid, now just go home already. The guy finished. I glared at him before I went back out of their sight. Soon I turned around and went to the prison. If I can't see Gramps then I'll just go get him out myself. I ran past the security avoiding anyone. The place seemed unguarded so it was easy. I reached a hallway and ran through it until I bumped into something. The fall hurt and when I looked up, it was him. It was the guy in the hood who saved me. Hey, it's you again, what are you doing here? He said looking down at me and reached his hand out, so I grabbed it to heave myself up. So, you going to answer my question kid? He asked. I then looked at him and smiled. I came to break you out of here. I said proudly. You know you're going to get yourself into trouble, right? And what about your parents? he said with a concerned tone. I don't have any, a family that is, but we better get going now. Come on, I know the way out. I then turned around trying not to face him because I didn't want him to get even more worried. I thought to myself, why did I tell him that? Why? I just don't know? But I lead him to the way I got in, and like before, the security was terrible. We snuck through with ease, then finally we were out. I turned around at the stranger and said, hey, do you have anywhere to go? He replied saying, nope, oh and by the way kid, thanks for helping me out. He said, then smiled and placed his hand on my head, ruffling my hair. No need to say that, after all, we're even now. I said, with a little blush on my face, because no one has ever thanked me before. He retreated his hand from my head, leaving me a little disappointed. Well kid, I think I should get going now, I got to find a place to hide. You can hide out in my place, I quickly suggested. Are you sure kid? I don't want to get you into more trouble. He voiced his concern. I then looked down, sad about parting ways. I kind of wanted to get to know him more. Well, as long as we don't get caught, I guess it should be fine. He said, then smiled even bigger and brighter. I looked up with wide eyes, joy and other emotions swelling up in me. I smiled at him, happy that he was going to stay over. So, kid, what's your name? He asked. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I said loud and clear. Nice to meet you, Naruto. Naruto's Pav. What's your name, mister? I asked him. He then looked as if he was unsure to tell me, but then he reached for his hood and it slides off. My name is Caitlin Gregg, and I'm actually a girl. What? I was just so shocked that he was a she. Yeah, I get that a lot, people mistake me for a guy. It mainly has to do with the fact that I'm a tomboy. She said while scratching the back of her head. Without the hood, I can finally see her face. She has dark brown eyes, long black hair in a braid and messy frizzy hair in the front, parted two ways. She could pull off a boy and a girl. Well now, I feel like I'm forgetting something, my sword. What? I need to find my sword, do you know where they would put it? She said while kneeling down and placing her hands on my shoulders. No. Damn, where did they put it? What's so important about that sword? Remember how I got here? Yeah, that thing in the sky, right? Yeah, well, that was the portal I used to travel here, and to make it, I need to find a crystal, and to find that crystal I need my sword. She explained, then suddenly smacked her forehead. Damn, I'm an idiot. What's wrong? I just remembered where it is, she admitted, then looked at me. I'm sorry, I'll be right back. I need to find it. I promise I will come back. Wait, you don't even know where you're going. I'll manage somehow, and like that she was gone. I wonder how she was going to find it. I stayed around so she could find me. But not too long after, somebody came up to me, but it wasn't Caitlin. I finally found you, the guy said in a creepy voice. Who are you? Wait, why you're that guy from before. I stuttered out, now scared after realizing who he was. Yes, and now thanks to you, my life is ruined. And I will have my revenge. After hearing that, I started running, trying to find help until I ran in an alleyway into a dead end. I turned around to find another way, but he was there blocking the exit. I was now cornered. He walked up to me and grabbed me by the collar and threw me down to the ground. I screamed in pain, but from the looks of it he didn't care. He kicked me in the stomach, then started stomping on me hard. I was in agony. He soon grabbed me by the hair and pulled me up and punched me in the gut and face. I started crying, because of the pain I was in. I wanted it to stop, but he didn't. He kept hitting me with a smile on his face. I was never in so much pain before. He then reached for a kunai and pointed it to my throat. Now after I kill you, everyone will then call me a hero, for the disposal of a freak like you. You never should have been born. He exclaimed. What did I do to deserve this? Please someone, anyone, help me. Caitlin, die, you demon. BAMM. The guy was kicked in the face and sent flying, dropping the kunai in the process. I looked and before me was Caitlin. She saved me again. Then after that, I passed out. Caitlin's Pav. What kind of person would hurt a kid? You bastard, I said furiously. You little brat, I'll make you pay. Flashback. Just after they separated, I then went back to try and find my sword, sneaking around the place without anyone finding me. I went to room, then finally I found the armory. The place where that ninja I hypnotized told me to go. It was unguarded, perfect. This was my chance to get my sword back, that is if it was here. I really hope it was. I snuck into the room and searched. They had kunais, katanas, bombs, everything needed for a ninja. I really wanted to play around with their weaponry, but I don't want to get caught, so best not to. In the end I looked all over and nothing. Where did they put it? I whispered. Then suddenly I felt a chill. Whenever I get this feeling it's when something happens or is happening somewhere. What could it be? I said to myself. Then I heard footsteps coming past the door I came in through. They were talking about something, so I listened in on their conversation in case it's about my sword. Hey, did you hear about that guy who was sentenced to the severe punishment? He apparently escaped and is going after Naruto Uzumaki? Wait, you mean that demon kid? Yeah, I hope he succeeds. The village would be safer without him running around. Quiet. You don't want anyone to hear you say that, or else you'll get punished. Yeah, right. When they finished their conversation and left, I ran as fast as I could back to Naruto. I never should have left him alone. Now there's someone trying to kill him. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. I cursed myself for being so stupid. I came back to where me and Naruto were, but he wasn't here. Naruto. I yelled out. Naruto. Where are you? Then a few seconds later I heard a scream. With no hesitation, I ran into the direction of the sound and ended up in an alley and saw some guy holding a kunai at Naruto's throat. I was so mad, I quickly ran to them and kicked the guy in the face. End of flashback. I picked up the kunai from the ground and held it in my hand. The other guy grabbed another kunai and came in for the kill. Die, he yelled. I then diverted his pathetic attempt of an attack, kicked him in the gut, he fell to his knees and grabbed his stomach. Jeesh man, you pretty weak. He then smirked evilly and came at me with a hidden kunai from his sleeve. Don't get kid. I grabbed his arm and may have accidentally broken his wrist. She did it on purpose. I'd never fall for a trick like that, I said as he cursed in pain. Why would you care about this freak? Oh, I get it, you're here for his power, aren't you? That's it now, you're after the Nine Tails power, he said like a crazy guy. What are you talking about? Don't act dumb, that's all that little freak is good for. Bam! I punched him so hard in the face that he went through the wall. I might have overdid it? Oh well, that bastard deserved it. I then went over to him and he was out cold. He's not going to wake up from that for a while. After confirming he was down, I ran over to Naruto who was laying down on the ground. Naruto. I ran back to where he was. I picked him up in my arms. His injuries were bad. He had bruises, cuts and blood all over his body and dried tears on his face. I got angry again. You must have been in so much pain. I'm so sorry. I then put my hand on Naruto's heart, and white flames appeared over my hand, then spreading all over his body. He was now covered in my white flames and slowly he was healed. I sighed, relieved that he was now fine. You couldn't even tell that he was almost beaten to death, but using that power of mine drains a lot out of me. I was now tired. He was way worse than I first thought, I said in my head. Then Naruto started to open his eyes. I smiled at him. Hey, what's up Sleeping Beauty? Caitlin? Wait, what happened? Where's that guy and how am I all healed? He said very fast. Cool it kid, everything's fine, the guy is over there out cold and I healed you, I said, confirming him that everything's alright. He sat there taking it all in, then started crying. What's wrong? Don't tell me you're still hurt, I said, waving my hands all over, panicking. I wasn't very good at managing people crying, I just didn't know what to do. He then went and hugged me and I was totally surprised, for two reasons. I didn't expect it and I didn't like hugs. I'd usually push people away when they try to hug me, but he was trembling, so I didn't. Instead I held the back of his head and rubbed his back. It's okay now, Naruto, no need to cry now, I said with a calm voice. I was so scared, he said while his face was in my shirt. There, I promise I will be there to save you. You promise, sniff. Yeah, I promise. Soon after Naruto stopped crying, some ninjas came and with them was that guy with the scars. He was apparently on a mission to capture the guy whose ass I kick. Naruto came and defended me thinking that they would take me away again. Then some old guy with a weird hat came and settled things with everyone, though Naruto was the hardest to calm down, until I came in. The old guy sent Naruto away with a ninja back to his home for security. He also wanted to speak to me. He seemed to be the leader around here, so I agreed. We then went to some big building in front of this giant mountainside, with faces. One of them looked like the old man. We were then inside of what seemed to be his office. He went behind his desk, then finally spoke. I would like to firstly thank you for saving Naruto, not only once but twice. I am very grateful and I'm extremely sorry for the way we treated you. Please don't have any ill will against any of my men, they were following orders. Please forgive us, he said, then bowed down. No, 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 please, you don't have to do that. It's okay, I know that you only did it because I was some suspicious person who came out of nowhere. Of course you'd take extra caution, I said, a little flustered. He then stopped bowing and looked at me. Now, let me introduce myself. My name is Hiruzen Sarutobi. I am the third Hokage of the Hidden Leaf. It is very nice to finally meet you in person, he said, then reached his hand to me. I then took it. Hi, my name is Caitlin Gregg. Nice to meet you, I said with a sincere smile on my face, then though about what he said. What did you mean by, to finally meet me? I have been keeping an eye on you, since we placed you in prison, he said like it's normal. Okay then, I said as sweat falls on my head, that's not stalking at all. You seem to be skilled in a lot of foreign things. Your name, it's quite unique around here. You mean weird, right? I said, raising an eyebrow. Oh no, that's not it. Sure? I said, staring at him. I saw him start to sweat. Well, back to business. What's your purpose for appearing here? He questioned. Well, the entrance I came thought appears anywhere randomly, and my purpose for coming here is that I'm looking for a crystal that will take me to the next world. Why is it that are traveling through these other worlds like you say? He asked intently. I'm trying to get back home to my family, I said seriously while looking at him in the eyes. So that's it, well then I will help you in your searches, thanks. Whoa, really? Thanks a lot, old guy. I was really happy that he was going to help me. This was going to be a big help. I will make some arrangements. From now on you shall train as a village ninja and live here. I will have some ninjas to do some research on your crystal. If anything is found I will inform you, he said while placing his hand together. Yeah, I'm okay with that, but I would like to ask a favor. Yes, what is it? He asked, thinking about what it could be. First, I would really like to have my sword back. He then reached under his desk and there it was, my sword. So, he had it all this time. Here, is this what you're looking for? He passed the sword back to me. I said thank you and placed the sword by my side. Is there anything else you need? Well, since I'm going to be staying here, I have an idea I hope you would agree on. I went close to him and whispered my idea in his ear and he seemed to smile about the idea. Yes, I agree with this idea, you have my trust, he said, when I finished discussing it to him. Agreed. We then shook hands to seal the deal. I then smile about it, I can't wait to see how this will end. Naruto's POV. After the incident yesterday, I couldn't help but wonder what happened to Caitlin. She told me that it would be fine, but how can she be so calm about this? She was taken to prison at first and she goes back like nothing. I know Gramps is there, but still. I sat on my bed thinking, it was now midday, I couldn't run back to the prison because there are Enbus outside keeping me on house arrest. I want out, I shouted, irritated about it all. In the end, I didn't really help her, I thought in my head. I regretted it, I wasn't any help in the end. Then my thoughts went back to the hug, it was warm and comforting. I wondered if that's how it would feel if I had a mom or big sister. I then remembered the promise, there's no way she would be able to keep it, after all, like that guy said, I'm just a freak. Knock, knock, I heard the door and went over to open it and saw Gramps standing there. Gramps, is Caitlin alright? What happened? What did you do to her? You didn't send her back to prison, did you? Gramps, please tell me, she saved me twice, you can't put her in prison. She's a good person. I pleaded to Gramps, completely worried. I never had anyone besides Gramps and the old guy from Ichiraku. Calm down, Naruto, your friend Caitlin is alright. She is not in any trouble, she has been accepted as a village citizen and will be training as a ninja very soon. He said, then place his hand on my shoulder. Everything's okay, Naruto, no need to worry. I sighed, relieved to hear it, but you on the other hand, after the incident that happened I can't just leave you alone. So I have assigned a ninja to keep an eye on you, as a bodyguard to protect you. My eyes widen. I don't need anyone to keep an eye on me. I'm just fine, I said, not really interested in having someone who I don't even know or probably don't even like, to watch over me. I hated the idea. I have decided it already, and have just the right candidate for the job. They will also be living here with you, he said, and I just got more mad. What? You can't be serious, Gramps. They have to even live with me. I couldn't believe it, but I knew one thing's for sure, is that I'm not going to like this guy. Everyone in the village hates me. So, who was the unlucky guy chosen for the job? Gramps then came inside and walked to the side and motioned for someone to come in. It must have been the bodyguard he mentioned. I just stared at him angry, then heard a voice. "What's up, kid?" I turned my attention to the door and saw a figure wearing a blue long-sleeve shirt, a black armband with a fire symbol on the left arm, a red vest with black stripes, a black belt holding a sword at the back, black gloves, black pants with a pouch on the right leg, navy blue ninja shoes with a red stripe at the top, and the leaf headband around the neck. "Come on, Naruto, I just got my first assignment, and already you don't need my help, I'm so hurt," they said dramatically. I just stared a while after realizing who it was that came through the door. The clothes were different, but it was her. It was Caitlin? Yup, the one and only Caitlin. I ran over to her and jumped, hugging her, and we fell down, hitting the ground. I didn't really care much, I was just really happy to see her. It was weird, I was happy. "Man, kid, you really do like hugs now, don't you?" she said while patting my head. I got up and asked what she was doing here. "Like I said before, I'm here on my first assignment," she said with a smile on her face. I looked over to Gramps with this look of, whose idea was this? He just smiled and said, "Don't look at me, it was all her idea. She came up with this scheme, I just agreed with her idea." Hee hee. I heard Caitlin and turned to her to see her laughing. "That was just so funny, the look on your face was priceless, I just couldn't help myself." She kept laughing and then Gramps started laughing along with her. I got a bit mad and a vein popped out of my head. I turned to the side and pouted as they laughed. "Aw, come on, Naruto, don't be like that." I turned to look at her and Gramps. After a moment I laughed with them. "See, Naruto, I told you so," Caitlin said. "Told me what?" I questioned, still laughing a bit. "I told you I'd protect you, like I promised," she said, and I couldn't help but want to hug her again. "Well, that is until you're older and strong enough to take care of yourself. Maybe one day you'd even save me." "You bet Cha I will. I'll become stronger and become the next Hokage," I said proudly, as I made my new promise. She then made a fist and pointed it to me. "Is that a promise?" She looked at me in the eyes. "Yeah." We then fist bumped each other to seal the promise. Caitlin got up and walked over to Gramps and said thanks for helping with the scheme. He was happy to help, which I disagree with. "From now on, Naruto, Caitlin will be staying here. I will make all arrangements, including your stuff, Caitlin." "Alrighty then," Caitlin replied. Gramps looked at Caitlin more seriously. "You're now Naruto's bodyguard. I trust his safety to you." "Chino, I won't let you or him down, Gramps." Caitlin smirked after calling him Gramps like I do. He didn't mind it, in fact I think I saw him smile a bit. And from then on, Caitlin has been living with me not just as my bodyguard but like a big sister. Caitlin's POV. Now it's been about a month since I came here, and I now know everything about this world. They have a lot of things which I'm pretty sure you already know, like ninjutsu and stuff. I went to their academy a week after moving in with Naruto. I then graduated from there after 2 weeks, and apparently it was a big deal. Learning from the academy was fairly easy for me. They say stuff like I'm a prodigy like Itachi Uchiha. I didn't know who he is, and to tell the truth I didn't care too much about that either way. They made me a Jonin and even offered me to become a Anbu, but I denied their offer. I was now going on single-man missions, but missions that would only last about a week or less because I didn't want to be away for too long because of Naruto. I gotten to like the kid a lot. He was like the little brother I never had. We'd always joke around and play pranks. He even showed me this awesome ramen shop with the best ramen ever. But sometimes I see him all by himself alone. He didn't have any friends according to him, and I couldn't help but see myself in him. When I was at the academy I kept on hearing people back-talk Naruto, and when they did I'd get pissed and may or may not have gotten into a fight. I didn't know the reason why people were talking behind his back, but one thing I know for sure was that I would always have his back. Right now, me and Naruto are having some chicken and mashed potatoes for dinner, and I was going to go on a mission tomorrow in the morning, so I was going to tell him, "Hey Naruto, tomorrow I have to go on a mission in the morning, I'll be gone for about a week." I said, still eating the mashed potatoes and chicken. "Huh? You're going to be gone, but," he hesitated. "What's wrong?" I asked, noticing he wanted to say something. No, nothing." After he said that he went back to eating, I looked at him, then went back to eating also. We finished eating, washed the dishes, and then went to bed. Naruto would sleep on his bed while I sleep on the floor with a futon. He'd always say for me to get a proper bed, but I didn't want to. Since I was a kid I've always liked sleeping on the ground. It just felt more comfortable, not that a high bed wasn't, but you get what I mean. I woke up early that morning getting ready to go for my mission. Then after that, I made breakfast for Naruto for when he wakes up. I finished breakfast and was about to leave until… "Huh, Caitlin?" Naruto yawned while rubbing his eye. "Ah man, sorry, did I wake you?" I said, turning around. "No, I wanted to see you off before you leave, is that alright?" "Yeah, that's okay. I made some breakfast for you, it's on the table," pointing at the table. "Okay, he hesitated again. "What is it?" "Oh nothing, have a good trip." He then turns to the table but I stopped him. "Hey, Naruto, wait for a sec, come back here." "Huh, what?" he said with a questioning face. "Come here and face me." He did as I said with a confused expression. "Now close your eyes." "Huh? Just do it." "Fine, I'm doing it, happy." I then placed my head and nose on his, then I went away from his face. "What was that?" he asked while touching his forehead and raising an eyebrow at me. "That's what my culture calls a hongi. A hongi is for when you greet or say bye to someone. Me and my dad would always do it whenever I go to a faraway place or to my grandparents' place for a while. It's like a tradition my family did. So, whenever I go on a mission, we'll do the hongi as our little tradition, okay?" Caitlin's culture is Cook Island Maori, Scottish and Chinese. Caitlin also is the only one in her family with an American accent. Reason why, no one knows. "Okay," he said with such a big smile I just had to smile too. After 3 days, I finished my mission early and was heading straight to the village. I found out what Naruto was trying to tell me, and apparently, he has a sparring match competition at the academy, so I finished early to go and watch him. I was excited to go, it would be a big surprise for him, I can't wait to see his face. I finally arrived at the gate and was now making my way to the academy. Naruto's POV. It was now the sparring match competition and everyone in my class and other classes brought their parents and siblings to come and watch them, and me just standing by myself. I didn't tell Caitlin about the competition because she was going on a mission and because I don't want her to be disappointed in me. I'm the worst in class with the lowest grades, I can't let her see me like this. She was amazing, she became a Jonin in just 2 weeks and was going on B or rank missions. Yeah, maybe it's better off that she's not here to watch me. I said to myself, looking down then looking at all the people around, all them turning the backs to me. Hey, look, it's him, and he's all by himself. Yeah, what do you think? No one would want to be with that freak, some people whispered until the bell rang to start the competition. Everyone went to the court where the competition would be held. It was a big ground with fences surrounding the area, chairs and mats were placed for the audience to sit. All the kids in the academy were participating. Everyone would go by classes and draw lots to see who'd versus who. I was going up in the 3rd round versing against Sasuke, the guy the first hate the most. Having all the girls fawned over him was so irritating. I was glad to go up against him, I could give him a piece of my mind. The 2 first rounds went fast. Kiba versus Shino. Shino won. Shikamaru versus Choji. Shikamaru gave up the match. Everyone's sweat dropped and Choji was declared the winner. Now in the 3rd round, Naruto Uzumaki vs Sasuke Uchiha. Everyone started cheering on for Sasuke. Go Sasuke. Beat that Naruto. The girls kept shouting out. Go Sasuke. Sasuke's mom shouted out and his father and brother just stayed quiet and watched intently. Yeah, so I made this before Itachi killed his clan. So Sasuke's family is still alive. I looked down sad that no one was cheering me on until. Come on Naruto. You got this. I straight away looked back up. Who was cheering me on? Everyone was surprised about that cheer and was looking toward each other seeing who it was. Who was that? A lady said. Who'd be cheering on for that guy? The crowd whispered to each other. Go Naruto. You can do it. Everyone stood away from the person who shouted that and stared at them, and when I looked to see who it was, my eyes widened. It's Caitlin, I said, staring at her. She was in the crowd waving her hand up cheering for me. Who is that? I don't know? Wait, I think I do. It's that guy who graduated from the academy in only 2 weeks and became a Jonin. What, really? Yeah, why would he be cheering him on? Everyone looked in awe and confusion about why someone that good would cheer for someone like me. Note: no one knows that Caitlin is actually a girl because of her appearance, except for the people who already know like Naruto and Gramps. How did she find out? I thought she was on a mission for a week, my eyes lit with happiness, then a smile formed on my face. She always shows up when I least expect it. I then turned to face Sasuke with a smile on my face. Now I was ready to fight. We waited for the referee to start the match. We stood in our fighting positions. Now fight. We came at each other and Sasuke came in for the first attack and I somehow managed to dodge it. I then came at him with a punch of my own, but like me he dodged it. He soon came at me again with a punch but then switched to a sweep, knocking me down. He then came to finish me off but I kicked him in the chest and he was taken back, clenching his chest. This was my opportunity. I came in and got a clear shot at him in the face. Everyone in the crowd looked shocked and so was I, to be honest. That was great, Naruto. Caitlyn shouted out, still cheering me on. He actually managed to hit Sasuke twice. Someone in the crowd said. Sasuke then got up again looking mad, then smiled. Ready for round 2. With that I got into another fighting position. Bring it on. After I said that I was the one to come at him this time with a punch, he then went down and dodged it and grabbed my arm that I used to punch with and threw me over his shoulder and down to the ground. I was now on my back in pain, then he got on top of me and made a fist. I saw the fist come close. My eyes widened waiting for a punch but it stopped barely touching my nose. That's it. Winner of round 3 is Sasuke Uchiha. The referee announced and everyone cheered. That looked like a close one for a second there. I thought the other guy would win. What, are you kidding? He's an Uchiha, no way he would lose. Sasuke got off me and offered his hand to me but I ignored him, and he then went away. I was laying there on the ground disappointed that I lost. I lost so many other times but this time I really wanted to win. I wanted to make Caitlyn proud. She will think I'm just a useless loser like the rest. How do I face her? Man, Naruto, that was great. You did so awesome. That punch you gave him in the face was epic. I'm proud of you. She smiled and helped me up. What? You're not disappointed that I didn't win? Well, I was getting my hopes up a second there. Oh, really? I then dramatically put my head down. But losing shouldn't get you down. I looked up to her. If anything, losing should make you want to keep trying, keep wanting to win. It will hurt every time you lose, but you can't get stronger without some pain. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. After that little speech, my eyes lit up in awe of how wise Caitlyn was. She was right. You're right. I promise I won't ever give up. I raised my hand into a fist. That's more like it. We then fisted bumped again. We stayed until the end of the competition. In the end the winner was Sasuke, such a big shock. In second place was Shino and in third was Kiba. During that time, me and Caitlyn watched those fights and had fun. Some girls came up to me asking questions about Caitlyn. They kept turning red and squealing whenever she'd turn and look at us. I was laughing inside because they had no idea that Caitlyn was a girl. Shikamaru, Choji, Kiba and the other guys came to congratulate me on getting a hit on Sasuke. They also asked about Caitlyn too, wondering how I know her and stuff. At the end of the day everyone left and went back home, but as for me and Caitlyn, we went straight to the Hokage's office to hand in her report. Apparently after finishing her mission early she came running straight to the academy, completely forgetting to hand in the report of her mission. I face-palmed myself after that, but then I was happy to hear it. I thought about the day at the academy, and I would describe it as nothing but fun. Caitlyn's POV. Mission after mission, I was finally given some days off. I was so happy to hear it. I came back to the apartment, looked around to see if Naruto was here, but he's not there. He must be out. I then made some instant ramen for myself, too tired to make anything else. Sitting around the place was so boring, so I got up and decided to go shopping for some art equipment. I always liked drawing and art, and whenever I come to a new world I draw things I find cool, important or interesting, like a visual diary. After searching for a shop that sells good art equipment, I bought an art book, pencils and coloring pencils. Where to go now? I thought about it and decided to just go over to the training grounds. I walked all the way there in no time and tried to look for a good spot to sit, which was underneath a tree. I then started to draw random things like the time I came here and the times with Naruto. Drawing things that happened or stuff I like to do the most, kind of like a recording of my life. The wind blew gently against my face and the sunshine was warm. My eyes started to get tired and I yawned. I held my new art book towards my chest and then placed it on my face, laying down on the ground under the tree, placing my left arm under my head, my right on my stomach, and then fell asleep. I slowly opened my eyes because of some voice I heard. I was debating whether to get up or just stay asleep. After debating, I decided to just get up. I removed the book from my face and slowly got up. Once I blinked a couple of times, I was finally able to see who it was making the noise. It was the kid that Naruto fought in that competition. What was his name again? Says Sake Sausage? It started with a S, I'm sure. Hey, I remember you. You're that kid versing Naruto, right? I said, and he was surprised. I don't think he saw or knew that I woke up. Oh, sorry, I was getting my kunai. Wait, yeah, I remember you. You're that guy who cheered on for that loser, he said, disgusted by the fact I know Naruto. Who are you anyway? I ignored his question and hit him on the head. Ow, what was that for? He said while rubbing the bump on his head. That's for calling Naruto a loser, I said with an anger mark on my head. What are you, his mother? He yelled. No, I'm more like his big sister. He then looked at me weirdly. Wait, what? He said, and I was now realizing why. You're a girl. Yup. I smiled while closing my eyes and rubbing the back of my head. He just looked completely shocked by this, while for me I never get tired to see that look in people's faces when they find out. It's always amusing. After a little bit, he calmed down and I asked him again. So, kid, what's your name again? He then looked at me. What's yours? I asked first. No, you go first. I then got another anger mark. Fine, rock, paper, scissors. Whoever loses has to tell their name first. We then got ready. Rock, paper, scissors, bam. We said together, and he got rock and I got paper. Ha, I win, now tell me. My parents always tell me never to tell strangers anything. What? That no fair, I won. You had to tell, but my parents told me to do the same when I was a kid, but anyway, still, I won. Now if I remember, I didn't agree to that wager. He then smirked. Oj, I yelled in frustrated, while throwing my hand on my head, making a mess out of my hair. Well, messier than it already was. Ha ha ha. The kid started to laugh and my eye just twitched at that. Well now, if you won't tell me your name then, I'll just give ya a nickname. Wait, what? Now how about Raven? No, Crow, nah, sounds too cool to be your name. His eye twitched at that. I got it, how about Duck Butt? Cause of your hair, don't you call me that. Sorry, just did. Now what cha doing here, Duck Butt? My name is not Duck Butt. Yes, it is, me. No, it's not, him. 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 No, it's not, me. Yes, it is, him. Ha, I win. Me. Wait, no. So, what's your name? It's Sasuke Uchiha. He then realized his mistake and blocked his mouth. A smirk formed on my face. So then, it's Sasuke, right? He just looked away embarrassed. Yeah, that name might be too hard for me to remember, so how about Sasu? Then what was the point in asking? If you're not going to use it, well, I could always go back to calling you Duck Butt. No, Sasu is fine. I mentally cheered myself for the victory. Sasu-chan, what are you doing here? I said cheerfully. Training. Really? Wow, and here I thought you just came here to wake up some random person from their peaceful sleep. Wait, you did? I said sarcastically. He stared at me and I just smiled innocently. I didn't mean to wake you up. I threw one of my kunais over here and saw a body on the ground and, so I thought. And so, you thought that your kunai hit me? Yeah, but then I saw it in the tree. It was fine until you woke up. What's that meant to mean? It means, I wish I did hit you. Gasp. You're so heartless. I acted dramatically, placing my hand on my heart. You wish, he said, and then I couldn't help but start laughing, and then he started to laugh too. Me and Sasu-chan hang around talking to each other. While I say talking, it was mainly insulting each other then laughing after. I showed him my art book and he seemed to like it. He showed me what his training was, and it was actually really good. Most people wouldn't notice how hard he works, just like Naruto. The two of them are going to become the greatest of friends in the future. Yeah, sure. Having most of the whole Naruto series dedicated to Naruto chase after him and always being rejected. Wow, I described Sakura's whole life story. Well, back to the real story. Sasu-chan and Naruto are more alike than they think. I thought, completely not noticing Sasu trying to get my attention. Hello. Wow, what's going? Sorry, did you say something? He glared at me for a moment, then spoke. I was saying, can you hit all the targets? I looked around and there were targets everywhere. I could try. He handed me some of his kunais and shurikens. I then thought back to when he did it and got ready. Now first focus. Block out everything around you, breath and now. I ran up and jumped in the air, throwing all the kunais and shurikens at each of the targets around us. Landing on my 2 feet, I looked to see I hit all the targets and then looked to the side at a shocked Sasu. Well, seems I can do it. I smiled with my eyes closed while scratching the back of my head. How the hell did you do that? Shouting at me, then ran over to me. Teach me. What? Teach me? I want you to help me train. I'm not sure, I never have been good at teaching people and stuff. Please, my brother is too preoccupied with stuff that he hardly helps me train. What about your dad? He started looking at the ground. No, I can't ask him. I need to prove myself first. I looked at him and all he wanted was to make his father proud. That's it, I've made up my mind. I looked at him, he looked at me and… Yeah, nah. Huh? Sorry, it just I get a lot of missions now, and then there's also Naruto. He's more harder to manage than you think, and today I was finally able to get some days off and came here. He was silent, still adjusting to my answer. It was starting to get dark. I picked up my things and was ready to go back for the day. Well then, I'll see you later, Sasu-chan. I turned around to start walking, waved goodbye at him then. Wait, I turned back to him. You never told me your name. You have mine, I should have yours too. He looked at me pleadingly for an answer. I breathed in then out, and then smiled at him. My name's Caitlin, it was nice to meet you, Sasu-chan. Maybe I'll see you again another time. And after that I disappeared, leaving Sasu-chan and saying hello to a Naruto. Where have you been? Naruto questioned. Nowhere important. Alright, time skipped to the next day. Today is Sunday and Naruto is sleeping in bed, and I don't think he's going to wake up for a while. I got bored again sitting around the apartment. I packed my art book, pencil, and off to the training grounds I went. It was another beautiful day. I came to the same tree as before, but instead of sitting on the grass I climbed the tree and sat on the big branches, leaning back, then falling asleep again. My sleep was peaceful until I got hit on the face, then fell to the ground head first. I rubbed my head trying to essay the pain. Ah. Man, that hurt. I looked down to find my art book. I picked it up. Wait, was this what hit me? Hello, Caitlin. I heard a familiar voice from behind. I turned to see who it was. It's you, Sasu-chan. He smirked. You're the one who threw the book at me, now weren't you? He simply smiled and said. I was just returning your book to you. I glared at him. I want you to train me. You're still going on about that. I won't stop until you say yes. Still no. Fine then, every time I find you I will interrupt you sleep every day. What? But I like it here. Your choice, help me train or I'll wake you up more painfully each time. You know, for a 6-year-old you're very evil. He kept glaring. Fine. I'll do it. He smirked again. Good, and I'm almost 7 years old. He may have won this round, but I'll get payback by making his training hell. And from then on, my days off have always been interrupted by Sasu-chan, training with him. Naruto's POV. Today I was out playing with Shikamaru, Choji, Kiba and Shino until I saw Caitlin walking. I wonder where she's going. Come on, Naruto, or else you'll be it. Kiba said, shouting at me. Sorry guys, I'll see you tomorrow, I said, then running over to the direction Caitlin was going. Naruto, where are going? Shikamaru shouted out, but I didn't bother answering. After running, I spotted Caitlin. I followed her around the village without her noticing me. I was thinking that maybe I would be able to catch her by surprise with my ninja skills. A couple minutes passed, and Caitlin ended up in the training grounds. She soon went past this tree and then disappeared. What? Where did she go? I walked up to the tree she was at and nothing. I walked backwards around the tree again until I bumped into something behind me. I turned around to see Sasuke. What? Sasuke? Naruto? What are you doing here? He said in his bored voice. I should be asking you that. I shouted in his face. Damn it, you idiot, you don't have to shout. What did you just call me? An idiot, cause that's the truth. He said, glaring at me, and I did the same. Grr, Sasuke. I was going in to punch him in the face until… The two of you are so bloody loud. Both me and Sasuke got hit on the head. We looked up to see Caitlin on one of the tree branches, hanging upside down. Ow, what was that for? I said, looking up at her. Because you two were arguing so loud that I couldn't sleep, she said, looking a bit angry. Well, you needed to get up anyways to train with me, Sasuke said from beside me, and I was just shocked. Wait, you're training with Caitlin? So what? Jealous? He just irritated me. Why are you helping him train? Why not train me? I pleaded to Caitlyn, a little angry at her. Okay, a lot angry. I mean Sasuke out of all people. Well, first, to tell the truth, I didn't want to. He kind of blackmailed me, and second, you didn't ask. She explained. Yeah, plus she has no more time to keep helping you. Sasuke insulted me, then Caitlyn hit him on the head again. Ow, what was that for? He asked, and I just laughed and sighed. 'Cause I felt like it. She said. Then Sasuke just shrugged it off. Me and him came into eye contact and we stared at each other. I heard Caitlyn sigh. Okay guys, cut it out, she said, and finally jumped down from the tree, which was what got me and Sasuke's attention. Since we're fighting over who I'm going to train, the answer is obvious. Oh, pick me, I said, jumping up and down with my hand up. If she's going to pick anyone, it would be me, I asked first. Sasuke said to me like he knew everything, which only made me mad again. You two are going to fight EACHOTHER. She announced. We looked at her with a, what did she say, face. I want the two of you to fight each other, and I will decide on who to train. I looked at Sasuke and he looked back at me. I'm going to win this, I said with a smirk on my face. In your dreams, loser, he smirked. Now the two of you will fight for about 2 minutes or until I tell you to stop. The rules are simple: no kill each other. Jutsus are not allowed. Weapons are allowed, but remember, no kill attacks, and last, if you are down for more than 10 seconds the match is over. Got it? Yeah, Sasuke said. Bring it, I said, now psyched. Sigh, now I'm starting to regret this. Caitlyn muttered from the spot she was standing. Now me and Sasuke are standing in a clearing on the training grounds, waiting for Caitlyn to start the match. Okay, now on my mark, 3, 2, 1, bananas. Me and Sasuke both fell to the ground at how stupid that was. Take this seriously, both of us said in unison with a vein popping out. Sorry, I just couldn't help myself. She smiled and rubbing the back of her head. Okay, let's try this again. Me and Sasuke got into our fighting stances. 3, 2, 1, fight. Sasuke made the first move and threw a kunai in my direction. I quickly dodged it and ran towards him, closing my hand into a fist ready to punch him, but he went down dodging my punch. He tried to come and grab me again, like back at the competition. I'm not falling for that again. I spun around and back kicked him. He was sent forward but still wasn't giving up. He threw more of his kunais and some shurikens at me. I dodged them with SA. Yeah, he was lying, it was more difficult than he says. He suddenly came out from behind me and kicked me in the back. I was now sent flying into a tree. My front and back now hurt. I turned to Sasuke and he was smirking. I got up and said, "Is that all you got?" I lied to him with an equal smirk on my face. He seemed to have believed it because he stopped smirking and looked annoyed. I started running back at him and he started running at me. The both of us pulled out a fist and aimed for the face. We hit each other in the face and we stayed in that position looking at each other, then falling down at the same time. We were panting hard. Sweat was dripping down my face. We got up off the ground. We came at each other again with a lot of punching, kicking and dodging until we couldn't keep going anymore. We were on the ground once more and getting back up for another round until... Alright, match over, Caitlyn announced. Has it already been 2 minutes already? Said Sasuke. Nope, I have made my decision. We then looked at her with thoughts of who she possibly could have picked to train. The tension in the air was thick as we waited. I couldn't handle it much longer. Who did you pick? I said, wanting it to be me. She looked at us and said, I will train. Please be me and not Sasuke. Please be me and not Sasuke. Please be me and not Sasuke, I repeated in my mind. Then, the both of you, she said with a smile. Me and Sasuke at the same time said, wait, what? Why do I have to train alongside with this guy? I said, and Sasuke just started at me, but I ignored it. Well, to put it simple, it wouldn't be fair if I chose only one of you over the other. She explained. She couldn't pick, she didn't want to let any of us down. Caitlyn, you're the best, I said in my head. Or is it because you thought that if Naruto is here I would be too distracted, and you could sleep in peace? Sasuke said from where he was sitting with an interrogating stare. No, of course not, she dragged out, turning her head away from us. I saw her sweat. Me and Sasuke just stared her down. There was a dark aura around us, Caitlyn noticed, and she started sweating more. That was why she chose the both of us. I won't forgive her for this. I thought to myself, to congratulate you guys, let's have Ichiraiku my treat. Never mind. Yeah, ramen. I cheered. Fine. He shrugged, but I also think I saw him smile. Nah. Must be my imagination. Time for ramen. Come on guys, let's get going. We were off to get ramen and my training with Caitlyn and Sasuke would start tomorrow. Caitlyn's POV. Right now, I'm in the Hokage's office, finally finished with my mission and waiting for him to tell me what to do next. He was looking at my report. Great work Caitlyn, you completed your mission, and in record time too. You have some time off, you earned it. He praised. Thanks Gramps. I bowed and was about to walk away until he stopped me. Oh, wait just a second please. Huh? Alright, what is it? How's Naruto been doing? He asked. Oh, he's been doing great well I think. He keeps eating lot of ramen, so I've had to take some drastic measures and hide it from him. He complained about it for a while. Then we started training together. You've been training him? Yeah, but not just him. Another boy has been training with us. Sasu is what I call him. I think his real is Sasuke? Sasuke Uchiha. Yup, that's it. Do you know him? No, not in person. I know him because of his brother. His brother? Yes, at the academy you may have heard rumors about him. His name is Itachi Uchiha. Right, I think I remember. They say that he was the other guy who graduated from the academy at a young age. He was a prodigy is what they say. Yes, he was the first prodigy, then you were the second. In all of the Leaf we've never had two in the same era. That's nice to hear, but I'm pretty sure that I'm good because I'm way older than he is. Oh really? How old? Not as old as me I bet. He started laughing. I'm 14 years old. He stopped laughing and started coughing. I'm sorry. Did you say 14 years old? Yup, I know, hard to believe, but it's the truth. I slowly age and I was in a coma like sleep for 1,000 years, so it didn't help much either. How? It's a very long story which I could tell you for another time, if that's alright with you. I said with pleading eyes, telling him not to continue asking. I see, very well, I would like to say thank you. Huh? For what? Naruto, he's been doing better since you got here. Oh, that reminds me, why is it that people hate him? What did he do to get almost beaten to death the first time I got here? That is a story for another time also. I see? Touché old man. We grinned. Well, that will be all, you can leave now. Yup. Oh, can you tell me what day it is? I lost track of time. It is March the 31st. March the 31st? Wait, doesn't that mean that it's April the 1st tomorrow? Yes, why? Oh no, I see what you mean. He said, and I just smirked. Yup, I can't wait for April Fools. I woke up early that morning preparing and getting some stuff for the great April Fools. In my family, when my cousins come over in the holidays, we would prank each other for a week, but I'll just do it for a day, that's all the time I need. I walked over to the training grounds like I always do to meet up with Sasu and Naru. Yup, I call Naruto Naru sometimes. He thought it unfair that I call Sasuke Sasu and him just Naruto. So Sasu-chan and Naru-kun is what I call them. But back to what I was doing, getting to the training grounds. I placed traps around the tree we meet at and waited in the bushes for the two to show up. After 20 minutes, they arrived, and I waited for the right moment to activate the trap. Sasuke's POV. Me and Naruto got to the spot to meet up with Caitlyn. Naruto was like always and tried to race me to the tree. We ran, and both reached the tree at the same time. Ha, I got here before you, Sasuke. We got here at the same time, loser. No, I touched the tree first, so I win. I sweat dropped at his logic, then went to look around the tree to find Caitlyn. She wasn't here? Usually she gets here before us, so she can take a nap before we wake her up. Huh? That's weird. Kai-chan woke up early today, so I thought she'd be here waiting? Naruto said aloud. Yeah, I made it that if Caitlyn was to call them Naru-kun and Sasu-chan, then Naruto should nickname her Kai-chan. Because he's a 6-year-old, and if you take away the 4 last letters in the name, it's Kai. I know why call her Kai when he could call her Kei-chan. Well, Kai is a Jap word for something, and it's an anime made in Japan, Tokyo. I just thought it sounded better. Sasuke still says Caitlyn, so yeah, on with the story. How do you know that she woke up early this morning? I asked him with a questioning look. Because she lives with me. He said. Wait, what? Naruto and Caitlyn live together? I thought he lived by himself? Now that I think about it, I don't really know him that well, do I? Even Caitlyn, I don't know much on her either. Yeah, what's the big deal? He said. Nothing, just shocked that even with her living with you, you're still a loser. I said to annoy him. Grr, he growled at me. I smirked, then ignored him. Where was she? Was the question in both of our heads. I looked at the tree at the spot where my kunai hid it. Back when I meet Caitlyn, There was a piece of paper inside. I pulled it out and went to see what it was. "What's that, Sasuke?" he questioned. "I don't know, I think it's a note from Caitlyn?" I guessed. "What's it say?" he asked. I unfolded it and it said, "Happy April Fools." Then suddenly smoke bombs were set off. We were surrounded in smoke. "Sasuke, what's going on?" he shouted out to me. "I don't know," I said in all honesty. I then felt something wet being thrown at me and now I was shocked in it. The smoke cleared and me and Naruto were covered in paint. He was painted blue while I was painted orange. Pop pop pop, confetti were set off surprising both me and Naruto and another poof of smoke came in front of us reveling Caitlyn. "Happy April Fools, guys," she said with a giant grin on her face. "What? It was you," we shouted at her. "I forgot it's April the 1st, April Fools, and she pranked us. I'll get you back for this, Kai-chan." Why was I painted blue and he was painted orange? I wanted to be orange. I just dropped at how stupid he was. "That's good to hear, cause for today's training I want you to try and prank me," she told us. "What?" I said confused. "Yeah, this will be fun," said Naruto. "In the spirit of April Fool, this training will deepen on strategy and how much you know your target, but since you're still beginners I will leave hints of where I am. There will be 4 checkpoints for you to find and I'll be there waiting. You each will be given paint balloons and you must try and hit me with paint before the end of the day. Are you guys ready?" "Heck yeah, believe it," Naruto exclaimed, pumping his fist in the air. "This will be payback for throwing paint at me." I smirked back at her at the thought of getting payback. "Ha, we'll see about that. See you two at the first checkpoint." And with another poof she was gone. But there was the paint balloons that she mentioned and a card with the clue to find the first checkpoint. The pranks have just begun. Naruto's POV. We packed all the paint balloons and looked at the note that Caitlyn left behind for us. It said, "In the place where loved ones rest, a stone is placed on top of its head. That is where I will wait for you instead. Caitlyn G." "What? She tells us in riddles. I'm terrible at those," I complained. I think I know," Sasuke announced. "Wait, you do? What is it? What's the first checkpoint?" I asked. "It's actually simple, the note says that. In the place where loved ones rest, a stone is placed on top of its head. It's the cemetery. The place where loved ones rest," that line is referring to a deceased person. "A stone is placed on top of its head, that is the gravestone you place on top of the grave's head." Wow, I applauded him. "Come on. Let's go and get Kai-chan. If we get her on the first try maybe we'll get a reward. I can't wait to prank her and get that reward. Training will be easy," I said excitedly. "Don't get too, she's our trainer for reason. Still we can get her if we just hesitate all the time." "True. Wait, did you just agree with me?" I questioned and he just ignored me. "Come on loser, let's get going." We left the training grounds and headed off to the graveyard, passing people and some kids on the way. Sasuke was in front and I decided to make this into a little race. I ran ahead of him and looked back. "First one there gets to go against Kai-chan first," I challenged, and he started running faster. "I'm going to get there first." "Loser," he challenged back and we started running faster and faster. We got to the graveyard really fast and looked around to find Caitlyn. We searched and saw a man with white hair, a mask covering most of his face and a leaf headband covering his left eye. Sasuke and me walked up to the guy to ask him if he saw her. "Hey mister, can I help you? Have you seen someone with long black hair and a sword on their lower back?" "Oh, yes I did. He told me to give you this." He handed us another note. It said, "Nice job guys, you figured out my note. Now you will have to find out where I'm hiding. Just think about my first note and you'll find me. Caitlyn G." "Yeah, it's her note all right," Sasuke said. "But what does she mean? How are we supposed to find her?" I asked, completely confused again. Could you tell me what's going on?" the man with white hair asked. We turned towards him. "Sorry, we forgot about you. What was your question? What is it that you're doing?" "We're here training. We have to find Kai-chan and get her with this." I showed him the paint balloon. "It's for April Fools. We have to track her down and prank her. She has 4 places for us to find her. This is the first checkpoint," Sasuke explained. "I see. Can I have a look at that note?" the whitehead said. Sasuke handed both notes to him and read them. "Say mister, do you know what it means?" I asked him. "We searched the entire place but nothing," Sasuke said. "Well, look at what they say here. A stone is placed on top of its head. That is where I will wait for you instead." Yeah? I said. It's not just talking about the graveyard, it's also talking about where they're hiding in the graveyard. He said. Me and Sasuke just thought hard about what he said. I got it, Naruto. When you were looking around, did you see a gravestone that looked off? Sasuke demanded, then asked. Huh? Why? I said with a confused look. It's a gravestone, she's disguised as a gravestone. He finally clarified. I get it. Alright, let's go look, I said, determination in my eyes. We searched the place trying to find a gravestone that looks different, and that's when I realized that one of the gravestones had a fire symbol like the one Caitlyn has on her arm. Sasuke, over here, I shouted to him to come over. What is it? He asked. I think it's this one, it has the same symbol Caitlyn wears on her arm. I explained and he just nodded his head. Understand what it is we do now. We grabbed a paint balloon and got ready. We threw the paint balloon at the gravestone and it transformed back to Caitlyn and she dodged them. So, you figured it out. Good going, Naru-kun and Sasu-chan, now try and get me. She said with a smirk slowly growing on her face. We threw more and more of them, but she kept dodging and slashing them with her sword. After throwing paint balloons for about an hour, we were exulted. Time's up, she shouted. What? I think now is about time for me to go to the next checkpoint. She then jumped away from us. Hope you guys can find the next place, but I should warn you the riddles will get harder as you continue. See y'all later. And poof, she was gone, and there was another note and some more paint balloons. Aw man, she got away, and we didn't even hit her once. I complained, frustrated at not getting her. We still have 3 more checkpoints left. You're not going to give up now, are you? Well, if you are, I guess I could get her all by myself since you're way too weak to continue. Sasuke just tried to get me mad with what he said and with the stupid smirk on his face, and he succeeded. What did you say? No way am I going to give up. Watch me, I'll show you just how much better I am than you. Now I was just as determined as before. Come on. What's the next clue? Sasuke's pav. After motivating Naruto to continue, we picked up the note Caitlyn left behind and read it. It said, playing a game of chase and run. Children gather and say hey. Just for fun. Come along and you will see. This game is not just you and me. Caitlyn G. I wonder what this one could mean. I muttered to myself thinking about the note. I wonder? What is it, Naruto? I was just thinking, could it be the park? Why do you say that? Well, because playing a game of chase and run. That could be the game tag, and children gather and say hey. Just for fun. A park is where we come together to say hi after school, just for habit. Naruto explained, and I just stared at him with a shocked expression. Huh, you do have a brain after all. I said after a minute. Huh, you're not the only one who can solve things. He said, all cheerful, until I saw a frown form on his face. I was about to ask him, but I decided to ignore it. It's not any of my businesses was what I thought, and I just turned away and started walking. Huh? Wait, Sasuke. Wait up. Do leave without me. He said, then tries to catch up to me. Oh. And thanks, masked face, for the help. We appreciate it. See ya. He yelled out as we ran to the direction of the park. We were running and the park was in eye view. I could see that there was some kids and parents there. As we were getting closer, I noticed that Naruto was starting to slow down until he was behind me. We entered the park and searched for Caitlyn. Naruto saw Shikamaru and Choji, so he went over to them to ask. I was a further distance behind him, then I heard some parents whispering. Look, it's him. Come, let's get the kids out of here and away from that blonde freak. That kid is bad news. I'm out of here. What are they talking about? Are they talking about Naruto? Why? Those were the thoughts I had as I walked past some of them. Now that I think about it, people were doing the same thing at the sparring competition. What did Naruto do to make them hate him, I wonder? He was always alone when I'd see him. Hey guys, Naruto said, and that got me out of my thoughts. Huh? Oh, Naruto, it's you. What's up? Shikamaru said in his, this is a drag, tone of voice. Hey Naruto, Choji said, standing beside him with his hands on his head. We're looking for our trainer. Have you seen someone with long black hair and a sword on their lower back? I said, coming out from behind Naruto. Shikamaru and Choji just had a shocked expression. What the? Sasuke Uchiha. Shikamaru grabbed Naruto. Hey, what's the deal? Since when did you hang out with Sasuke Uchiha? Don't you two hate each other? He whispered, but I still could hear what they were saying. Well, it's a long story. Long story short, me and him are training together. Now we need your help looking for our trainer. I interrupted them in their conversation, feeling a little irritated. Yeah, so have you seen her? Naruto said. I don't remember seeing a girl by that description, sorry? Ah, Naruto pouted and I was just disappointed. But we did see that guy from before, you know, from the sparring competition. He was here and he gave us this note and some balloons. He said, and I just face-plumed while Naruto fell down to the ground. Shikamaru, that guy is a girl. I explained to him and they both went silent for a couple of seconds until. What? They both said, shocked at what they just found out. And she's our trainer that we're looking for. I told them that and they kind of shut down. Naruto went to help them out by fanning. After a minute, they finally got themselves together. They handed us the note. It said, "You guys are doing good. For this one, find out which one of the kids here is me. Know your target and your friends. Cuz it them who you'll rely on in the end. Caitlin G." I searched the place and talked to the kids around. None of them seemed suspicious. Then I went to see how Naruto was doing and he was still with Shikamaru and Choji. "Naruto, what are you doing?" I walked up to him. "We need to work together if we're going to find her." I told him and he looked at me with a serious face, saying for me to listen to him. "Sasuke, I know which one is Kai-chan." I looked at him and he was dead serious. "Who is it?" I said seriously too, hoping and trusting Naruto for once. He turned his attention back to Shikamaru and Choji. "Shikamaru," Naruto called. "Yeah, how long ago was it when Kai-chan came and gave you the note?" he asked. "About 20 minutes ago. Did Choji ever leave during that time?" "Yeah," he answered. "Now Shikamaru, haven't you noticed that Choji hasn't eaten any potato chips? And that's when it hit us. Choji loved his potato chips and you would never see a day without seeing him eat them. When did Naruto get so smart?" We turned our attention to Choji, or should I say Caitlin. Choji smirked and poof, he turned back to Caitlin. "Nice going, Detective Naruto. But I have a feeling that it wasn't just me not eating chips that gave it away. Nope, it was the way you put your hands on your head and the way you stand. We lived together, I noticed things, and the note helped also." He explained, then smiled. "Well, you're going to need more than my note for help." She then threw a paint balloon at Naruto, but he dodged and hit me in the face. "What the heck? I thought you weren't going to get us with paint balloons." Naruto yelled out. "You thought wrong, I never said I wasn't going to try and get you." She then jumped on top of the monkey bars. "Now let's see if you can get me this time. Take this." Naruto kept throwing paint balloons over and over, but she just dodged and even caught them, but not without her throwing them back. I wiped the paint off my face from before and went back to try and help Naruto, but she just keeps on getting away by jumping to different things like the swings and the slide and everything else in the park. We continued still trying, and then I could hear people talking again. "What's going on here?" an adult said. "A paint balloon fight?" one of the parents answered. "Mommy, can I play too?" a child asked their mother. "Yeah, that looks fun," a boy about 5 years old said. Then Caitlin stopped and came out of nowhere in front of the kids and smiled. "Hey there. So, guys want to try too?" They nodded. "Okay then. Just go over there and ask the kid with the pineapple hairstyle to give you some and help those two." They did as they were told and went over to Shikamaru, who said, "What a drag," but he still did it anyway. Me and Naruto were standing together and Caitlin stood on top of the monkey bars again, ready to say something. "Are all of you kids ready? The goal is to try and get paint on me, but don't think it would be easy. Give me your best shot," she shouted out with a smile on her face. The kids started throwing the paint balloons and me and Naruto joined in again. We weren't just trying to get Caitlin anymore, we were having fun. More kids came and joined. Eventually the park was painted completely. Caitlin was surrounded, but still no one got her until we started working together. Me, Naruto and Shikamaru devised a plan and almost got her until we ran out of paint balloons. It was then that Caitlin decided to start and go to the next checkpoint. "Alright everyone, sorry, but it's time for me to get going now." Everyone complained, because they were having fun playing with her. "Do you have to?" one of the little girls said sadly. "Yes, but don't worry, you'll see me later," she said, smiling at her, and everyone just smiled. "Naru-kun. Sasu-chan, see you at the next checkpoint for round 3. And like that she was gone again. "Man, we couldn't get her this time either," Naruto sighed beside me. "Hey, Naruto was your name, right?" some kid said, walking up to us with some more people. "Huh? Yeah, it is. That was a lot of fun. You guys want to hang out sometime?" the one who spoke first said, and I looked at Naruto and his eye just lit up. "Yeah, sure. Naruto said with that big grin off his. Naruto, come on, let's find the next checkpoint. I called him and he turned to me and went to pick up the next clue. Naruto's POV. I picked up the note that Kai-chan left and read it out. Knowledge and skills are what you seek. Come along the strong and weak. This place is for the young. For every daughter and every son. Caitlin G. Sasuke, any idea? Nope, we just stared at the note thinking and still nothing. When she said the riddles would get harder, she wasn't joking. Me and Sasuke were just spacing out until I heard some call me. Hello Earth to Sasuke and Naruto, are you even listening? Huh? We turned around to see Shikamaru. Oh, I forgot he was here. Sorry about that, Shikamaru, we were just trying to figure out this riddle Kai-chan left. I explained. Oh, so that's why you guys were spacing out. Be careful Naruto, you might hurt yourself. He said with a plain face, then smiled. What did you say? Hey, look, there's Choji. Choji, where have you been? He shouted out to gain his attention. I forgot about what he said and just looked over to Choji, who was walking up to us. Sorry Shikamaru. Choji apologized. What happened to you? Shikamaru questioned. Oh, you wouldn't believe it. That guy who gave us that note and balloons gave me all of these potato chips. He showed us the potato chips. There was a lot, if I would agree to stay behind until the paint balloon fight was over. So, that was the reason. Okay, then back to the riddle, can I see it? Shikamaru asked. I handed him the note and he read it. Now this is only a hunch, but I think that it's the academy. He deduced. Well, it's the only idea we got. Sasuke said. To the academy. I yelled out to only get yanked by the collar from Sasuke. Sasuke. What was that for? You idiot. We need a plan first. Yeah, we need a plan if we're going to get that trainer of yours. Shikamaru said. We? Sasuke said, giving Shikamaru a questioning look. Yeah? It was fun here, so I would like to see what else that trainer of yours has in store. Choji will help too, right? Shikamaru gave Choji a say yes stare. Choji nodded, not wanting to go against him. Cool, you're going to help us. Yeah, this is really going to be the best, right Sasuke? I turned to look at Sasuke. He said something like, whatever, better chance of getting her, but I could tell that he was having fun. What's your plan anyway? Sasuke turned to look at Shikamaru. Shikamaru motioned us to come together to discuss the plan he had. After hearing his plan, we all agreed on it. You guys got that? Yup. I nodded. Sure. Sasuke nodded. Yeah. Choji nodded while eating more chips. We headed off to the academy, since it was the only lead we had. Once we got there, two girls we know from our class came running to our direction, then pushing me out of the way to get to Sasuke. Now I remember why I hated him. Sakura and Ino were clinging to Sasuke's arms. From the looks of it, he was not happy bumping into them. He had an annoyed face and I was still on the ground. I got up from the ground and went to Choji and Shikamaru. We tried to think about where to search for Kai-chan. I looked around and spotted Kiba, Hinata and Shino. I yelled out to them and they all turned to see me and the others. Naruto. How's it going? You too, Shikamaru and Choji, Kiba greeted. Naruto, Hinata stuttered. I ran up to them saying hi and then asked if they have seen Kai-chan. Shino answered saying that Kai-chan came, gave them a note then left. He mentioned to Hinata saying that she had the note. She handed me the note then turned red and ran away. I was confused but went back to look at the note and read it to the guys. It said, "Good going. You figured out the riddle to the third checkpoint. Now I have only been at the academy for 2 weeks. But during that time, I had a favorite subject. That is where I will be waiting for you. See ya there." Caitlin G. So, Naruto, what subject is it? Shikamaru asked. It's you don't know. Yeah, I do. It's art. Huh? I turned around to see Sasuke. Sasuke? How do you know that? I asked, surprised that he got away from the two fangirls. When I first meet her, she was drawing, and she told me that she loved art, so it must be the art class, that's where she'll be. He explained, Naruto, don't you live with her? I shut up, he smirked. Anyway, Kiba, Shino, you guys want to help us? Me and Sasuke explained to them what we were doing and our plan for when we find her. Well, we got nothing better to do, so why not, said Kiba, and Shino nodded. We were about to leave until Sasuke-kun. Two fangirls shouted and Sasuke just kind of pushed all of us to run for it. We ran to the art class as fast as we could, losing the two fangirls in the process, Sasuke sighed in relief. Alright, after running from some of Sasuke's fangirls, are you guys ready for the plan? Shikamaru announced. We all nodded and got ready to enter. Shikamaru sent Kiba and Shino away to wait for their signal. We walked in, and there was buckets of paint balloons inside waiting for us. All the chairs and fragile stuff were gone, leaving a clear room. Then there she was. Kai-chan in the middle of the room facing her back to us, then turns around to look at us. With a smile on her face she said, "So, you two found out that to win this game you're going to need more than just the two of you. In the ninja world you need to be strong, yes, but even the strong need help, sometimes, and that's where your friends and companions come into the picture." She explained. "Oh, hey Potato Chip. Thanks for before," Kai-chan said to Choji, and Choji seemed to kind of like the nickname that she gave him. I couldn't help but think how accurate it was. "No, thank you for all the potato chips," Choji said to her with a smile. "Now I didn't get your friend's names, Naru-kun." "Oh, this here with the potato chips is Choji and the other one is Shikamaru." I introduced them to her and they greeted her. So Choji and Shikamaru," she said, pointing at them after finding out their names, "until, nah, I'll just call you Potato Chip and you Pineapple Head, okay?" "What? Pineapple Head?" Shikamaru yelled. Me and Sasuke started to laugh and Choji too. "But trust me, it's not as bad as the first nickname I gave Sasu-chan. It was Duck." She didn't finish that because Sasuke threw a paint balloon at her. She dodged it. "Don't even think about it," Sasuke said, then gave her a scary stare with the dark aura around him. She smiled. "Well then, let's begin." She started to throw paint at us. We tried our best to dodge them, but she was fast. I was the first to get hit. After Choji got hit and Shikamaru and Sasuke were the last ones to get hit. "Woohoo, yeah, now let's see if you guys can get me this time. I won't throw any, I'll just dodge." We picked up more paint balloons and started to attack, but even though she was in a small art room she could dodge all of them. Shikamaru then gave us a look, say to start the plan. We got into position, and surrounded her at the back of the classroom, then got ready to go at once, but Kai-chan noticed. "Oh, so you do have a plan after all. Sorry boys, but that won't work." We threw all at once but ended up hitting each other. She jumped to the front of the classroom then laughed. "I told you guys to get me, not each other." After she said that we started to smirk. What are you smirking for? "Because we know that confronting you wouldn't work, so that's why we had to come up with a plan." Shikamaru explained. "Yes, but it didn't work," she said. "Who said the plan was over and that it was just us four? Do it now." After Shikamaru said that, Kiba and Shino came falling on top of Kai-chan. They came out of the air vent that was above her. After we found out where she was hiding, Shikamaru remembered that there was an air vent on the ceiling big enough for us kids. All we needed to do was lure her there under it. Shino and Kiba were told to hold onto her, and so Kiba was on top of her while Shino held onto her legs to keep her still. "What? Hey, let go!" she yelled out. "Naruto! Sasuke! Do it now!" Kiba yelled. We both threw a paint balloon at her. It went flying in her direction, and in that time, she smiled. The paint balloons were a direct hit. Paint were all over her face. I jumped into the air and yelled, "We did it!" I turned over to Sasuke and we fist bumped, both of us smiling until poof, Kai-chan was gone. "Wait, what happened?" I asked loudly. Kiba stood up after fall to the ground. "I know what happened. We've been up against nothing but a shadow clone. She tricked us." "Damn, of course she would," Sasuke said, then grunted his teeth. "Hey, hate interrupt, but this was where she was after she disappeared." Shino told us, and there in his hand was another note. Up, standing on top of one of the stone faces, stood a figure with long raven black hair and wearing a red vest. Caitlin smiled as she sensed her clone disappeared. "Well then, I better get moving to the last checkpoint," she said to herself. "Yo. Better keep watching, those boys are gonna put on one hell of a show." Caitlin smirked as she looked behind her to a tall man with a mask covering the bottom half of his face. "You can tell who he is. What makes you say that?" he asked her. She smirked to the grown man, "Because they are the future of the Leaf Village, and one of them is going to be the next Hokage." The man looked to her with a raised brow as she grinned. "See ya, Kakashi." Naruto and the others gathered around to hear what the note said. "Where the fourth's face stands tall in the crowd of children gathering. The day of fools is near its end. Time for the final game to begin." Caitlin G. Any ideas? Naruto asked, dumbfounded. It's somewhere near the fourth Hokage's stone face. I'm sure that if we look around there, we'll find another clue. Shikamaru deducted. Sounds good to me, come on. Let's do this. Kiba said with fire in his eyes, and Naruto was no exception. The two biggest knuckleheads in the group charged heads first through the door. With no other option, the rest had to follow them. The gang now were standing on top of the fourth Hokage's stone face looking for any signs of Caitlyn or a clue. What made you idiots think that it would be on top of the stone face? Shikamaru complained as he thought, what a drag. I wouldn't go scolding them just yet, Shikamaru. Shino spoke. From up here we can see the village from above, and look over there. He pointed downwards at something. Everyone gathered at the edge. What they saw was a crowd of kids gathering around in an area near the Hokage's office and right in front of the fourth's face below them. Where the fourth's face stands tall. In the crowd of children gathering. This must be what Caitlyn meant in the note. She's in that crowd, Sasuke pointed out, and everyone nodded in agreement. They headed for the crowd, and once there, they heard an all too familiar voice. Alright everybody, the April Fool's game is about to begin, the voice they knew said. They pushed through the crowd of kids, and in the middle stood Naruto and Sasuke's trainer. Caitlyn saw Naruto and Sasuke with their friends, and smiled at them. Are all of you ready? And the crowd of kids cheered. In honor of April Fools, I have gathered all of you here today, for a fun little game. The goal of this game is to try and get one drop of paint on me, using the paint balloons I have placed all over this area. If you manage to hit me, you and whoever helped you will win a prize. What's the prize, you may ask? Well, that will be revealed at the end, if any of you win. Now let's begin, and once she said that, a loud noise was heard by everyone to start the game. Kids ran to grab paint balloons and ready to hit their target. Despite the number, none of the kids were able to hit. Some of the townspeople and parents came to see the event happening. The children kept hitting a wall which Caitlyn was standing in front. She's standing here for a reason. Some of them didn't care and hit each other for fun. As they continuously threw balloons, Caitlyn dodged each of them gracefully as if she were dancing. While children distracted Caitlyn, Naruto and his group huddled together and discussed strategy thanks to Shikamaru and Sasuke, who stopped the two knuckleheads from doing something stupid. Okay, you know what each of you have to do, right? Shikamaru asked. They nodded to the smartest in the group. Sasuke, this all depends on you, can you do it? Shikamaru asked. Sasuke looked at him. I can do it, he said with determination. Caitlyn stood her ground gracefully, dodging the kids' attempts. I wonder where Naruto and Sasuke are. I haven't seen them yet since we started. She smirked at the thought that the two and their group are discussing strategies. Her thoughts were soon cut short as soon as she saw Potato Chip and Pineapple Head, Choji and Shikamaru. The two headed straight at Caitlyn with paint balloons in hand. Choji and Shikamaru worked together in sync and drew Caitlyn to the spot for their plan. Caitlyn knew they were planning to lure her to one particularly spot where she believes the rest of the group will jump her. And as she thought, the rest came out to play. They attempted to get hold of her once again, but she was more than prepared. Kiba and Shino failed to get hold of their target, but two others of the group have yet to appear. Caitlyn jumped away from the two, and wondered where her two students are. Then, as if her question was answered, the two came from behind her, just after she got away from Kiba and Shino. We got you now, Caitlyn, Kai-chan. They threw multiple paint balloons at her, but somehow, in midair she dodged each of them. She grinned as their plan failed, then decided to throw some paint balloons of her own. They were all covered in paint once more as she smirked in delight. But something was wrong, their faces that were frowning turned into sly smirks. Then, to answer her question, Naruto poofed and appeared to be a shadow clone of Sasuke. What? I've got you now, Kai-chan. To Caitlyn, everything around moved slowly. She could see Sasuke, Shino, Kiba, Shikamaru and Choji cheering. Then she looked at Naruto, who was behind her, throwing a herd of paint balloons. She looked at his eyes that shined brightly. She smiled in this moment as the balloons came closer. Splash. Silence. Naruto and friends were quiet as they witnessed Caitlyn get hit. Naruto started. Did we do it? Poof. Nope, sorry. Not this time, Naru-kun. Caitlyn smiled as she stood behind the blonde. The others witnessed and saw that Caitlyn used a substitution jutsu and avoided their attack. A log of wood fell to the ground with paint splattered over it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of this April Fool's Games. Caitlin announced as the crowd of children stopped and looked towards her. I thank you all for coming here and participating in the game. Even though no one succeeded in getting a hit at me, but nevertheless, there is another reason for why I have asked you all to come here, she said as everyone paid close attention to what the other reason could be. As some of you may know, I am not from here. I am an outsider, but this village and its Hokage welcomed me here. As a sigh of thank you, I want to leave something behind. She then turned towards the wall. Remember when I said there was a reason for the wall, and out of nowhere, she brought out a giant paintbrush. Small time skip, and done. Wow, the crowd exclaimed at the finished product that was done right before their eyes. Yeah, this artwork does not belong to me, but for the story, Caitlin painted this. The crowd was in all awe at what they themselves thought of was a masterpiece. No, wait a minute? She questioned out loud for all to hear. Others questioned what could be the problem. This is missing something, she said, making everyone wonder what it is, because to them it looks perfect. Then she snapped her fingers. Ah, that's it, missing a signature. She turned to the crowd. Well, since I wasn't the only one responsible for this masterpiece, will you all help me sign this? She asked, looking at all the kids that participate, and gave them a warm smile. Everyone smiled brightly towards the ravenet and walked forwards to the wall with the masterpiece was and covered their hands in paint to leave a handprint on it. Caitlin walked over to Naruto and his group and gave them all a pat on the head, telling them they did a fantastic job. They were disappointed at first for losing and not getting her after all their hard work, but got over it quickly when she offered to feed them some Ichiraku ramen. Yeah, ramen, 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 Naruto chanted, excitement obviously seen on his face. But remember, you guys need to sign the painting also, she reminded them as they did so. Naruto, Sasuke and Caitlin placed their handprints close to each other. Naruto's handprint was orange while Sasuke's was a dark blue, and lastly Caitlin used white for hers. The three grinned happily towards each other while in the minds of the two youngest, Naruto and Sasuke, they said to themselves, "Best April Fools ever." Caitlin's pav. "Come on guys, this can't be all you've got," I said to Naruto and Sasuke, who were on the ground panting. We were in the training grounds again, and I was checking to see how much endurance Naruto and Sasuke has. I am not done yet. Naruto charged in and tried to hit me, but I simply moved to the side and tripped him up. He went tumbling down. Ow! I chuckled at him, then moved to the side and dodged Sasuke's attack. Oya, that's not nice to attack me from behind. You're so cruel, Sasu-chan, I faked being hurt. Hey, like attacking you from behind would do any difference, he replied back. Careful Sasu-chan, that sounded almost like a compliment. Are you starting to warm up to me? I had sparkles in my eyes. Yeah, not a chance. An imaginary arrow shot me in the heart. Wah, Sasu-chan, you're so mean. I acted childishly and ran to Naruto and hugged him. Yeah, you heard me right, I said I hugged him. Caitlin has a soft spot for kids. Naru-kun, you love me right? I said with fake tears. He sweated and laughed nervously. Come on, you're a jonin. Jonins shouldn't act so childishly, Sasu-chan said. Well, what's the point in being a grown-up if you can't be childish sometimes, right? I grinned, quoting the words of a madman, and poked him on the forehead. He had wide eyes but turned back to normal. What kind of reasoning was that? He raised a brow at me. I shrugged at him but kept the smile on my face. Now then, you guys want to try and attack me again. Now my two supposed students are on the ground unconscious. Yeah, I may have went overboard. I sweat dropped. Well, that's the end of training for today. I made a shadow clone and ordered me to take Naruto back home, while the original, takes Sasuke back to his home. It's probably best if I take Sasu-chan personally, to apologize to his parents, I thought to myself as I pulled Sasu-chan into a piggyback ride, the same for Naru-kun and my clone. I left with Sasu-chan while my clone did the same with Naru-kun. On my way I bumped into some of the Uchiha police force and asked them where I can find Sasu's house. They recognized me from Sasu's description of me, then told me where it was, and I gladly thanked them. I thought back to the Uchiha police force. Sasu-chan told them about me? I was getting close to Sasu's house, and once I arrived, I knocked on their door. Outwardly I looked calm and composed, but inwardly I was freaking out. Creak. The door swung open as a woman with long black hair, not as long as Caitlin's though, and eyes like Sasu came to view. Oh, hello there, she greeted with a smile. Hello ma'am, my name is Caitlin. I'm one of Sasu-chan's friends. We were training and kind of overdid it, I said sheepishly. Oh my, giggle, you're the trainer Sasuke has been talking about, she said, and I gave her a confused look. Please come on in. She moved out of the way, gesturing for me to enter. I walked inside and she directed me to where I can lay Sasu down. Once I laid him down, the woman, which was obviously his mother, asked me if I could stay and have tea with her. I was just about to refuse her offer. Please stay, I would love to get to know you. Sasuke has been telling me a lot about his tomboy trainer. She giggled a bit at the tomboy part. Curious as to what he said about me, I decided to stay. Sasuke's POV. I started to hear voices talking while I wanted to sleep, but it didn't stop. So I opened my eyes and found myself in my room. How did I get here? I thought, then tried to remember what happened. That's right, I was training with Caitlin and Naruto, then I passed out. Ha ha ha, you really did that. Ha ha, I heard him laugh? What's going on? Really, I did. You don't believe me? Fine, I'll show you sometime. Caitlin, what is Caitlin doing in my house? I got up and ran to the kitchen where the voices were coming from. At the entrance I hid behind the wall to hear what they were talking about. I hear that you are training my brother, is that true? I heard Itachi's voice. Itachi's here too. Yeah, you can say that. At the beginning I didn't want to train him, but you could say he was very persuasive. My parents, even my father, started laughing, something I've never heard in a long time. As for Itachi, I could hear him chuckle. So what is your opinion of my son? He's rude, he blackmailed me, and he's so mean. Is that so? Mother giggled, clearly understanding that Caitlin meant all of that in a playful way. Haha, that's not all, sir. Your son is an amazing boy, with a kind heart and intelligent mind. He may not be like his brother Itachi though. I frown at that part. Is that so? My father asked. This caused me to frown even more. So even Caitlin thinks I'm not as good as Itachi? I wanted to cry but heard Caitlin continue. Yes sir, because Sasuke is going to be even better than Itachi. My eye widened in shock. Oh really? What makes you say that? Father asked. You could say it's a gut feeling I have, sir, trust me. Sasuke is going to be a great ninja in the future, better than even Itachi. No offense Itachi. None taken, I think the same. My heart filled with some kind of warm feeling as I clutched my shirt. My frown gone, replaced by a giant grin. Ha ha ha, you are one interesting kid, and I think you could be right about that. My father praised me. He acknowledged me. Of course, he's my student, Caitlin said proudly. If you're going to be his teacher, then my brother is going to need more help. Huh, what was that? Coming from the guy who needs a serious haircut. My brother and Caitlin started arguing, making my parents laugh, because they've never seen their oldest child this lively before. I giggled to myself and moved back, making a creak sound. Creak. Sasu-chan? They heard me. Caitlin came to the spot where I was hiding. Sorry, I just heard loud talking and came here. I said rather quickly, panicking about getting found. She grinned. Come on Sasu-chan, this is your house. You don't need to be shy all of a sudden. I composed myself as Caitlin held my hand and we walked to the table where my family were seated. Ah, Sasuke, you're awake, my mom said cheerfully with her usual warm smile. I nodded at her and sat down next to Itachi. We spent our time talking with Caitlin and laughing most of the time. It was so much fun and felt nice to not hide and be a part of the conversation. It soon started to get dark and Caitlin said that it was time for her to leave. Caitlin's POV. Do you have to go? Sasu asked me. You can stay a bit longer and have dinner with us. We don't mind. Sasu's mother offered as the rest of them nodded in approval. I shook my head at them. I'm sorry but I can't. They were sad and briefly but nodded in understanding. Very well then, please whenever you want. You're welcome here, Sasu's dad said to me. Thank you sir, I bowed as I begun to stand up and leave. Let me walk you out, Sasu's mother insisted and walked to the front door with me. We were now at the door and I was grabbing my shoes and putting them back on. You know, Sasu's mother started. I hummed for her to continue, my back facing her as I continued to put on my shoes. You remind me a bit of an old friend of mine. Really? Yes, she was headstrong, fearless, had a bit of a temper and had beautiful long thick red hair. I turned to face her once I finished putting on my shoes. She sounds cool. What was her name? I asked out of curiosity. Her name was Kushina Uzumaki, Caitlin's POV. Cough, cough. God, this sucks, I thought to myself. Right now, I am currently laying down in bed going through hell. Yup, I got sick. But it's not any ordinary sickness, it's a sickness I go through at least once every 100 years. It's a state where my body goes cold as if I were dying and my head keeps pounding non-stop. Having traveled through different worlds can put a big strain on the body, especially since I haven't been to my original world in so long. The first time this happened I actually thought I was going to die. A lot of dramatic things happened back then. And on the day I wanted to ask the Sasuke's mom about this Kushina Uzumaki. I was sure that this Kushina was Naruto's mom, but my problem right now is trying to calm Naruto down, who is panicking due to my sickness. Naru-kun, calm DD down, I said to him, but it made it worse. How can I calm down? I don't know what to do. Kai-chan, you're cold as ice. What do I do? He said in frustration, his entire frame trembling. He was hugging his knees with his face buried in them, probably to hide his tears. At seeing this, all I wanted to do was go to him and tell him it will be alright, I'll be fine. This sickness will only last for only a week or a month if Lady Luck isn't on my side, hopefully she is. I got myself out of bed and moved over to Naruto and hugged him. He flinched slightly because of how cold I was. Kai-chan, you should stay in bed. You might get worse. You should know by now, Naruto. Know what? I pulled back from the hug and looked at him. You should know by now that a sickness like this won't stop me, and remember, I made a promise to you that I would protect you until you're strong enough to be on your own. So stop thinking that I'm going to die. I poked him on the head playfully and smiled. He replied back, rubbing his eyes. That's good, I said back. Thump. Wah. Kai-chan, are you okay? Damn, talking to him without stuttering took more energy than I thought. Yeah? Cough. Cough, Jeju, just need to re-rest for a bit. My eyes closed shut and I blacked out. Naruto's POV. That's good, she said back to me. Thump. I panicked as Kai-chan suddenly dropped to the floor. Wah. Kai-chan, are you okay? I asked. She smiled at me. Yeah? Cough. Cough, Jeju, just need to re-rest for a bit. Her eyes closed shut. Kai-chan. Kai-chan, wake up, please. What am I supposed to do? I could feel tears starting to run down my cheeks again. I need help. My eyes widened as an idea came to me. Gramps. Gramps could help me. I was about to stand up and leave, but then. I can't leave Kai-chan here alone, like this. I looked back at her. Her body was still on the ground where she fell. What do I do? Knock, knock. Oi, Caitlin. Naruto. Are you home? I heard Sasuke's voice come from the door. I ran to the door and opened as fast as I could. I may hate Sasuke sometimes, but this was important. Kai-chan's life could be at risk. Oh hey loser, where were you and Caitlin? You two weren't at the training grow. Sasuke, please, it's Caitlin. She needs help, I said desperately, tears already falling down. What happened? She's sick or dying, I don't know, I need help, I don't know what to do. Take me to her. I showed Sasuke where Caitlin was. He touched her forehead and retracted it back. She's cold as ice. Yeah, I know that. But what do we do? I don't know. We're not strong enough to lift her into a better sleeping position. We need an adult's help, he replied. Then stay here with her. I'm going to get Gramps. He will know what to do. I ran as fast as I could to Gramps' office and slammed the door open. No one's POV. Gramps. Naruto yelled as he entered the room. He stopped and panted as the old man looked towards the blonde boy. Naruto, what's wrong? The third Hokage stood up from his desk and paperwork. He walked to the boy and placed a hand on his shoulder. Gramps, it's Kai-chan. She sniffed. I think she's dying. Naruto started sobbing as the third hugged him and rubbed his back to calm him. Naruto, take me to her, he said in a serious tone once Naruto calmed down. At Naruto and Caitlin's place. This should help a bit. Sasuke said to no one in particular as he placed some blankets which he found close by on the ravenet that was still on the ground unconscious. I hope this will get you warm again, he said with hope. Then he pulled up his hand and placed it on the fellow Ravenet's hair. His eyes widened and blinked a few times. Her hair looks rough, but it feels really soft. He started to play with her hair, but his eyes slowly turned sad. I hope that old man third will be able to help, he thought to himself as he waited for them. Then finally they arrived. Sasuke looked at them then stood up. Is there anything you can do? Naruto asked the old man. The third Hokage walked up the unconscious Ravenet and bent down to her, while Sasuke gave him some space. He placed his hand on the teen's, not really a teen, forehead and frowned. This doesn't seem good. I have no idea what could be wrong with her. Could it be some kind of sickness she gained on one of her missions? Or could it be something else? Thoughts and theories ran through the old mont's mind until a certain someone's eyes flickered open. Caitlin, it's good to see you're awake. Tell me, how do you feel? He questioned, clearly worried about the Ravenet. Haha. I feel like crap. She weakly smiled at him. I need to talk to you. Alone, she looked at him seriously. He nodded and asked Naruto and Sasuke to leave and give them some privacy. Naruto was reluctant to leave, but Sasuke was able to give them the privacy they wanted by dragging Naruto with force. Once gone, the third helped Caitlin up from the ground onto Naruto's bed to get more comfortable. Thanks for the help, she thanked him as she settled herself in. Tell me, what's wrong with you? You're colder than ice, is it some kind of sickness? Yes, she replied instantly, but it will be okay. The old man gave her a non-believing look. She sighed and continued, Ease a sickness I go through of every couple of years, but it's nothing fatal or contagious. I'll simply be weak and out of commission for hopefully a week. And if it's not for a week? He couldn't help but ask. Then possibly a month. How can you go through all of this? The third asked in a concerned and sad tone. It's fine, I continue because I have a goal that I want to come true, she said, as a smile graced her face. And as if reading his mind she continued. My goal is to see my family again. Caitlin's pav. Is there anything you need, Kai-chan? Naruto asked. No, it's alright Naru-kun, I'm fine, but are you sure it's okay for me to keep sleeping on your bed? I can always sleep on the grow. No, you're still sick, and I'll be fine sleeping on the ground, so don't worry, believe it. Naruto grinned at me while in return I smiled. Yeah, so let me tell you what's been happening lately. First, Gramps said that I can take a break from missions until I get better. Second, it's been more than a week since my sickness started, so yay, an entire month of living hell. Note my so very happy tone, sarcasm people, she's being sarcastic. Third, Sasuke has been coming over to visit me, much to Naruto's displeasure. Flashback. Knock. Naruto, there's someone at the door. I'll get it. I watched as Naruto walks away and I continued to draw in my art book, then heard Naruto yell. I dropped what I was doing and threw the blankets and clovers off, then stood on my 2 feet, only to fall flat to the ground. Thump. Damn, curse my weak legs, I mentally complained, still on the floor. Then I heard more than one pair of footsteps coming my way. Kai-chan, are you okay? Are you hurt anywhere? Naruto questioned, worried about my health. I'm fine, I was worried something happened to you when I heard you yell, so I tried to move but ended up falling. I laughed sheepishly as I moved myself slowly with some help from Naruto into a sitting position. Once in the sitting position I saw the other occupant in the room. Sasu-chan, it's nice to see you, what are you doing here? I smiled sincerely at him and saw a smile on his face in return. I wanted to come pay a visit and drop off some homemade soup my mom made for you. He said, showing a basket which has the soup inside. Wow, really? Tell your mom I said thanks. He nodded and walked away to set the basket aside and came back. I tried to move again, only to struggle. Let me help you, Kai-chan. I'll help too. I don't need your help. Naruto complained as Sasuke just ignored him and helped me sit back on the bed. Thanks for the help, I smiled. Caitlin, what's up Sasu-chan? Tell us, what's your story? I blinked a couple of times and registered what he asked me. I mean, what were you doing before coming here? He spoke nervously. Well, that's kind of complicated, I said, rubbing the back of my head sheepishly as they sulked, but I guess I could tell you a few things. Naruto and Sasuke brightened up and sat in front of me as if ready to hear fairy tale. I smiled at them, and so, I told them some stories of my adventures during my travels. I made sure to leave out some depressing and gruesome details. Naruto was overjoyed and believed instantly, while for Sasuke, he was uncertain. This all sounds fishy to me, so you're saying that you once were something called a phantom thief, and you used to steal jewels, while you told the police that you were going to steal it? Yup, this all sounds fake to me. I swear, I felt an arrow strike me once he said that. That just shows what you know, Sasuke. Kai-chan never lies, so what she's saying is true. Naruto stood up for me. Sasuke looked to him unfazed. I simply said that it sounds fake, that doesn't mean that I don't believe it could be true. Sasuke replied as I held sparkles in my eyes. I messed with his hair playfully. Ah, my little duckling disbelieves in me and my stories. He shot me a glare more like pout as I grinned away. Until suddenly I started coughing non-stop. Using both hands to cover my mouth, I continued to cough. Sasuke and Naruto jumped to their feet in alarm. Naruto left to get me water while Sasuke stayed and rubbed my back. My coughing ceased thankfully but left me breathless. I gasped for air while gripping onto my shirt. Naruto came running back with a glass of water. Here, drink this, Kai-chan, it could help. He handed the glass to me as I accepted it and gulped it completely. With a tired sigh I regained my steady breathing. Thanks, Naru-kun. I tried to act energetic but I guess my acting skills have lost its touch because they weren't convinced. Caitlin, you should rest. We both can see that you're exhausted. Sasuke said with a frown and concern on his young face. Ah, so you guys can tell. Guess I don't even have the energy to fool you, huh? You don't need to, Kai-chan. If you're tired then just rest. I can take care of everything. He declared with confidence at that last part. If that's the case then I'll be coming to visit every day to make sure that you don't burn the place down, knowing how much of a loser you are. Sasuke spoke plainly without batting a lash, making Naruto yell but having no affect on the other. I smiled at them, they act similar to brothers, I couldn't help but think. And so I obeyed their orders and decided to rest. End of flashback. Then that brings us to now. The month of my living hell is near its end and Sasuke has been doing what he said and comes to visit every day. When he comes over I tell him and Naruto more stories of my adventures and they would tell me things they do during their day. Sasuke just finished telling me that his dad just praised him for doing the fireball jutsu after some training he did. I was proud to hear it and messed with his hair again. My relationship with Sasuke became a good one, so much so that he even calls me Kai-chan again, much to Naruto's displeasure, but I know he likes to have Sasuke around as well. We would still tease each other every now and then. The three of us talked and laughed the evening away and soon Sasuke had to head back home. Be safe, Sasu-chan, I yelled out. Yeah, I will, he replied back before I heard the door finally close. I leaned back in the bed feeling drowsy and yawned. Guess you're tired, Kai-chan. Let's sleep early tonight, okay? Sure, I settled myself in ready to sleep, but what I didn't expect was for me to dream of something that will change Sasuke's life for a very long time. Caitlin's pav. I closed my eyes ready for another blissful sleep but I didn't get what I wanted. In Caitlin's mind, I opened my eyes once again but to only see darkness. I turned my head in many directions, but the scene was the same. I knew what this was, and I didn't like it one bit. The scene soon changed, and I saw the Uchiha district at night. The place was dark and silent, too silent. Later it showed some of the people who lived in the district, until suddenly a man, no, two men, in masks came and slaughtered them all. Next scenes were of other people getting killed. Everything was horrific and gruesome. Stop it, leave them alone, I yelled but it didn't stop. All of this, it was a vision. I continued to watch as they killed. Then one of them took off their mask, my eyes widened. Kai. There was so much death, so much blood. Then it changed and showed Itachi in a dark room with his parents on the floor, in sitting positions. They said something, and I saw tears streaming down from Itachi's cheeks. He started crying painfully, not physically, but emotionally. His hands started trembling, but swiftly he slashed them in the back. They died instantly, on top of each other. The next thing that happened was when Sasuke came and saw the horrifying scene. My eyes widened more, until finally everything blurred away into black once again. I shot up from the bed, gasping for air that felt like it was driven away from me. I turned to see Naruto still fast asleep and I looked out the window. Sasuke. Using all the strength I could possibly muster, I opened the window and jumped out, heading for the Uchiha district. At the Uchiha district, no one's pav. Sasuke gazed down towards the corpses that laid before him, until a figure in the shadows walked out into the moonlight. The figure was Itachi. Big brother. Father and mother are. Who the hell would do something like this? Sasuke called with a scared expression. until a shuriken flew past and grazed his left shoulder. "Wait a sec, what are you?" He held onto his wounded shoulder and looked towards his brother. "What have you done, big brother?" "Foolish little brother, I almost pity you." His cold voice sent chills down the young Uchiha's spine. As Sasuke gazed directly into Itachi's eyes, he was put under Itachi's Sharingan. He was shown the death of his fellow clan members and family, all inside of his head. Sasuke gripped his head in pain and fell to the floor. Later, Sasuke ran in fear, away from his brother, screaming for his life. "Please, I don't want to die." He then stopped as he saw Itachi standing before him. "It's a lie, this isn't like you, big brother, it can't be." Then Itachi told him the reason for everything, why he acted like a big brother towards him, just to see how powerful he was and kill the clan to test his own abilities. He explained to him that to gain power he must kill his best friend and told him where to find the secrets of their clan. Itachi used his Sharingan on Sasuke, but before he lost consciousness he heard someone else's voice. "Sasuke." He turned his head in the direction of the familiar voice, and saw a face with long black braided hair. Caitlyn? He fell to the ground and was sent to a dreamless sleep. Caitlyn's pav. "Sasuke. Itachi. Where the hell are you? I've finally reached my destination, and the place was covered in blood." I ran towards Sasuke's house, only to find his parents dead on the floor. Damn it, I was too late getting here. It was true, I would have gotten here sooner if it weren't for my damn sickness. Seeing that it was useless to stick around here, I ran back outside to continue the search from the rooftops. While I was dragging my feet to the next roof, which was difficult, I spotted a masked man, the same one from my vision. Just when I was about to go to him, I hear a loud yell. "Please, I don't want to die." That's Sasuke's voice. Changing plans, I headed in the direction of his voice. On my way there I could feel it, my body is slowly losing strength. Sweat is running down my face repeatedly, I'm starting to lose feeling in my legs and my head is killing me with a pain in the ass headache. I'm forcing myself to continue despite the pain, but truth is I could care less about the pain. All that matters now is Sasuke's safety. I jumped from one building to another until I spotted them. I ran to Sasuke and shouted out his name as I saw him begin to fall. "Sasuke." Thug. He hit the ground and lost consciousness. I went towards him, kneeling down to see if he's hurt of anything. I sighed in relief that he wasn't too hurt, then directed my gaze at Itachi. "Caitlyn," he said my name, looking at me with cold eyes. I stood back up to face him, my gaze on him softening as I could see behind the coldness of his gaze. "Itachi." My voice was soft as I slowly approached him. I saw him flinch just slightly, that if I wasn't expecting it, I would have missed it. He made no movement, he just stood there as if contemplating whether to run, attack or let me continue. In the end he did the third option. I now stood directly in front of him looking up into his eyes. "Itachi." I spoke his name once more and this time he took his gaze away from me, directing it towards the ground with his hair shadowing them as well. He gripped his hands harshly as tears once again rained down his cheeks. I made an attempt to move my arm and hand towards him. He suddenly grabbed my wrist harshly and gripped it so much that I think it's broken, but I made no sign that it hurt. I stared blankly at him as he tried to regain his composure. "What are you doing here, Caitlyn?" He spoke in a cold and harsh tone, eyes still shadowed. I said nothing to him, as he seemed to be irritated by this. He let go of my wrist then punched me in the gut, sending me flying into one of the building walls. I grunted because of the pain, but didn't let it take away my consciousness just yet. I stood back up from the rubble and slowly approached Itachi again. "Tch, if you don't leave then I will kill you like the rest of them. I will kill you." I stopped in front of him again and looked up. His gaze turned darker as he used his right hand and wrapped it around my neck, then slammed he onto the closet wall available. I heard the wall crack, or was it my bones? Not sure. My feet could no longer touch the ground, but it's not like I could feel my legs to begin with. He continued to tighten his grip around my neck as it was getting harder to breathe. "You foolish child, you never should have come here, now you're gonna die for a trivial reason. I pity you, you cared so much about my useless brother duh," he said before I cut him off from his 180 attitude. "Stop lying, Itachi." I spoke regardless of my voice cracking. He stopped in his pursuit to tighten his grip. "I know the truth, I can see the reason for your actions, so stop trying to kid yourself with that stupid act, Itachi." He looked stunned. What makes you say that? I could snap your neck at any moment, he threatened. Then why are you still crying? I'm not Sasuke, so stop this act already. He slowly released me from his grip, as I tried my best to continue to stand despite there being no feeling in my body. I know why you're doing this, what you had to do. I can see it all in your eyes. So you can tell? Yes. He was silent after. I stood there, contemplating what I should do, but in the end I did something I rarely ever do. I hugged him. Since this is me, I would usually feel awkward or hate to do this, but it was the first thing that I could think of. And before I knew it, he hugged me back, kind of crushing me in the process too. I let him continue, as he cried all his feelings: anger, sadness, loss, everything. I don't have the strength to stop him, I know that much, but before he walks down this road I want him to show his pain. I want him to cry one last time for his loss, because right now, I'm too weak to help him any further. What I can do for him now is let him know that there is another person who still believes in him, even if he doesn't want it. Listen, I said to him, the path you're going to take will be hard, and I'm sorry I couldn't help you earlier. I wish I could have help in some way to prevent this, but I guess I was too late. Just know that I still believe in you, I said without really thinking. Damn, that sounded really cheesy. He moved back from the hug and gave me a sincere smile filled with gratitude. Thank you for what you said and what you did for me and my family. I got a bit confused at that part. The time you came to our house, it was filled with real laughter and happiness, something I haven't had in a long time. Thank you for doing that. I will treasure that time forever. I just smiled at him after that, happy that I did something for him after all. I'm sorry to ask this, but could you watch over Sasuke for me? As I was about to answer him, I never realized just how much I put my body through, because when I opened my mouth to answer, I coughed harshly into my undamaged hand. A crimson-red liquid stained my palm as black spots started invading my sight. I felt my body finally go limp and slowly fell to the ground, but never touched it, as I could feel someone holding me, then slowly laying me onto the ground gently. My consciousness finally leaving me, I closed my eyes shut, but not before I saw Itachi's figure slowly walk away and heard his last words. Please, don't tell him. No one's pav. Beep. 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 This was all that was heard inside of a white room with two figures inside, both laying down in bed. One was a boy and the other, a tomboy. Both with black hair and both unconscious. Everything was silent until the young boy woke up with a start, and gasping. He stared at the white ceiling with sweat dripping down. He moved, but only for his arm to be in pain. The boy named Sasuke turned to inspect his arm, and see it bandaged up. A memory shot through his mind, and he remembered everything. Sasuke sat up from his bed and looked to his right, where he saw Caitlyn laying in a hospital bed, bandaged up and unconscious. Another memory crossed his thoughts, causing him to grip the sheets laid on him. Swinging his legs over the side of the bed, and touching the cold hard floor. Sasuke briefly walked to the side of his trainer's bed. He watched as her breathing was elevated, but the sight of the hidden wounds caused him to frown deeply. Time skip. Because I'm lazy and don't want to write everything. Days passed and Sasuke was now sitting by the lake after he recently left school. Sasuke hasn't seen Naruto or Caitlyn since the time he was discharged from the hospital. Naruto, upon waking up that morning of the massacre, found Caitlyn missing from the bed and panicked. He spent the whole day trying to find her but couldn't, so he did what he should have done at first. He went to the Hokage. There he found out that Caitlyn was in the hospital and didn't even care about the reason why, because hearing the words hospital and Caitlyn in the same sentence didn't send much of a good implication. Naruto dashed to the hospital as quick as his little 6-year-old legs would take him. When he arrived, he found Sasuke seated beside her and made his way to them. Naruto never asked Sasuke anything after looking at him in the eyes. It was pain, loss and guilt he saw in them black orbs. I'm sorry, were the only words he heard from the Uchiha boy before the said boy stood up from his seat and left the room. Naruto didn't understand his words, so he brushed it off for now. Since then, Naruto and Sasuke hasn't seen each other. Naruto stayed at the hospital, stubbornly refusing to leave Caitlyn's side, and Sasuke continued attending the academy. Sasuke gazed at his reflection in the water while thinking of his parents. I wish I knew what kinds of things he said to her about me, he whispered to himself, eyes sad and downcasted at the thought. All good things, I'm sure, a familiar voice suddenly said from behind. Sasuke whipped his head around as fast as lightning and with his eyes wide. Kai-chan, he spoke the other Ravenet's nickname in shock. Yup, it me, she said awfully cheery, rising her hand up as a greeting. She was dressed in a hospital shirt and pants, bandages still wrapped around her arms and neck. I thought you were in the hospital. Oh, I was. I just woke up not so long ago. Then you should be resting in bed. Why are you out here? She pouted at him, because hospitals are so boring. He gave her a, "Are kidding me" look, until his eyes glazed over and he turned away from her. Where is Naruto? He sounded frail, like, if you were to be careless he would break down. Caitlin walked to his side and took a seat next to him, dipping her feet into the cold soft water. Did I forget to mention she didn't have shoes on? He's back at the hospital, she answered him and continued, when I woke up, I found him by my side, fast asleep with bags under his eyes. I could tell he hasn't left or slept for days, so I placed him in the bed after I left. Sasuke stayed silent, as Caitlin just let him be, while she played with the water by her feet. Kai-chan, Itachi hurt you, didn't he? Caitlin ceased her playing, and Sasuke looked to her for an answer. She closed her eyes, sighed, then nodded. Rage, anger and guilt invaded Sasuke's being like wildfire. Itachi, the young Uchiha, gripped his small hands into a fist and gritted his teeth. Killing intent oozed from him, causing Caitlin to open her eyes. She knew this would happen. His anger, bloodlust and hate was easily apparent. But what could she do? The course that Itachi planned is already in motion, and he asked her for two favors. Favors which she, as his friend, must keep. Watch over Sasuke and don't tell him the truth. Now Caitlin thought about telling the young boy she has grown attached to the truth, since she never did give the older Uchiha an vocal answer. So instead, she will give the boy a small hint when the time is right for him to think about, and maybe in the future he'll figure it out, hopefully. With a gentle touch, Caitlin embraced the boy into a warm hug, successfully erasing his bloodlust. What? Kai-chan, what are you? I'm sorry, she apologized first. Dumbfounded and confused, Sasuke asked, sorry? For what? She didn't answer him and just tightened the hug a little. Sasuke couldn't understand what she was sorry about, but the feeling of warmth and comfort in the hug set him at ease. He hugged her back, smiling a small but true smile. He lost his clan, his parents and his brother, but he still has someone. I will avenge my clan and kill Itachi, no matter what. I will kill him and I will protect you, to Kai-chan. His determination held strong at the thought. The hug lasted for a little while longer until Caitlin finally released him and looked him in the eyes. Sasuke, she spoke his real name, meaning this was serious, so he listened intently. I want you to stay and live with me. Shocked was the only word to describe Sasuke at this moment. He sat as still as stone, eyes wide, and mind completely blown. Staring into those dark brown orbs that held a certain warmth and shine in them. He didn't need to know the reason why, he knew she could be trusted. Droplets of water rained down from his eyes, as his feelings overtook him again. Wah, if you don't want to then that's okay. Caitlin panicked after seeing she made the boy cry. Maybe I was too serious, or too demanding. What do I do? No. Sasuke hugged her like his life depended on it. I want that. Please, let me stay with you. The older Ravene's eyes softened, then patted the younger boy's black hair with affection and smiled gently, as he continued to hug her. Afterwards, Caitlin left with Sasuke in hand, to the hospital, much to Caitlin's discomfort, because of the earful she's gonna get from the blonde she left behind. Upon sneaking back into the room she slept in, along with Sasuke, they found the whisker-faced blonde still snoring on the bed. Ha ha ha, I guess he was really exhausted. She turned to Sasuke, who stood beside her. Sasu-chan. You know, living with me is also living with Naruto-kun. So try not to kill each other when I'm not looking, okay? She gave him a playful wink, earning a small giggle from the Uchiha. She ruffled his hair and he responded by saying, no promises. No one's pav. Alright, a fully healed and energetic Ravenet said downwards at the two boys in front of her, one blonde, the other a Ravenet. The blonde named Naruto glared at the boy Ravenet, while the boy named Sasuke ignored his glare and acted naturally, without a care. It was currently the next day after Caitlin was officially discharged from the hospital. The hospital had no idea that she left, once she woke up. Kai-chan, why didn't you tell me that Sasuke was going to stay with us? The little blonde complained, pointing at the younger raven. She gave him a raised brow. But I just did, she answered, as if it was obvious. When did you decide this? He redirected at her when he didn't get the answer he wanted. She gave an innocent look. Yesterday when you were sleeping. Then she reached her hand down to ruffle his yellow locks. Think about it, Naruto-kun. It would be a lot easier to train the both of you if you live under the same roof. So it's a win-win. Now ignoring the obvious annoyed look he was giving her, she gave them a bright smile. Now, before we have Sasu-chan settle in, I have to make some adjustments to our apartment. So in the meantime I want you both to go to our usual training spot and train there. She looked at Sasuke. Sasuke, I'll grab all your belongings and bring them to the apartment, so there's no need to worry. I'll have everything done by the end of the day, plus one of my clones will be keeping watch of your training and bring you both back once I'm done. Any questions? She asked. They remained silent, implying that they didn't have any questions. Okay. Off you go now. She shooed them away after making a clone. When they were out of sight, Caitlyn made more clones and sent one group to fetch Sasuke's things and the other group to the apartment. The original Caitlyn, happy with her clones, went to do something else. Walking along the usual streets of Konoha, she felt slightly nostalgic and observed the people and buildings. After a month of staying bedridden, it was nice to be out. She finally stopped when spotting her destination, the Hokage's tower. Is it a tower? Or is it a building? Meh, either one is fine. Walking towards a certain old mont's office, Caitlyn arrived and knocked on his door. Hearing a small, "Come in," she walked inside to see the old man and piles of paperwork on his desk. Ripping his gaze from his paperwork, Sarutobi smiled at the ravenet in front of him. Caitlyn, it is good to see you up and doing well. Thanks, Gramps, she said childishly, giving him a closed-eye smile, but changed and became serious. Looking into those dark brown eyes and feeling the tension in the air. Sarutobi narrowed his eye and stopped his work, giving his full attention. You probably have an idea of why I'm here, she started and waited for the old mont's response. Yes I do, but I was planning on waiting a little longer before summoning you. He explained, giving her a tired sigh but stared strongly into her eyes. I understand that you have questions about Itachi, she cut him off. Itachi killed his clan to protect the leaf. Sarutobi's eyes widened at the girl's knowledge of the situation. To him, he wondered how in the world did she know? Was it Itachi who told her? No, he said to himself, Itachi isn't the type to tell anyone, especially since he wanted to portray himself as a traitor. He didn't need to tell me. Caitlyn's words cut him off from his train of thought and listened to her continue. As you already know, I was there that night, and before you ask why I was there, let's just say, I had an awful feeling something bad was about to happen. She explained after seeing the old mont's questioning face. But, her voice held regret and helplessness. Her hand were gripped tightly into a fist as she continued. I was too weak and helplessly too slow to get there in time. She took a deep breath to calm herself. Hokage-sama. The mentioned man shifted briefly at the formality. Caitlyn wasn't the kind of person to use formality often. Instead, with people she felt comfortable with or wanted to tease, she'd brush formalities out the door. But this time, what he saw was different. Instead of seeing the young person she looked to be, what he saw was someone older, more older than himself. Someone who has seen years beyond what he could live. Even with the knowledge of knowing her true age, she never portrayed herself as such. Instead, she was an energetic, lazy, prankster, and one of the best shinobis in the village. Looking at her now, he can see a warrior who has seen and experienced centuries of pain and loss. What right does he have to deny anything she has to say? It is all right if you do not wish to tell me the details of Itachi's actions, she said slowly, but I hope you will, before I find out myself. A dark shadow glazed over Caitlyn's eyes. Sarutobi had to control himself from shuddering at the dark emotion and aura spilling from her. Relinquishing her dark aura to allow the old man to breathe again, Caitlyn put on a smile and brought on her usual attitude. Sorry if I scared you, old man. You can ask me questions now. The third Hokage couldn't stop but sweat drop at the 180 personality change that just occurred in front of him. I'm getting too old for this. You are old, stop reading my mind, and you're certainly one to talk. She gave him a sheepish expression, rubbing the back of her head and sticking her tongue out. Yummy face. The old man couldn't help but smile, He just realized what she was trying to do, and he was grateful for it. He can trust her. And so, he told her everything. About the Uchiha clan's plan for a coup d'état, Danzo, and Itachi's last request. "I see," were the only words that left Caitlyn's lips after hearing the fully detailed story. "Yes, everything has gotten quite complicated. But Caitlyn, you must not tell anyone of this." With a shrug, she said, "I wasn't planning to. And please don't do anything to Danzo," the old man said quickly, narrowing his eyes at her. "Dang it," she said, turning her head to the side. "I knew it," Sarutobi thought after confirming his assumption that Caitlyn was planning something. With a sigh, he held the bridge of his nose, tiredness overriding him. Danzo's actions were unacceptable, and it will not go unpunished. "I have made sure of it," he informed her. "Let me guess, you removed him from his position in the council," she said in a bored tone, expressionless. "Well, FK. Oi, no swearing, there could be children reading this." "Stop reading my mind." The old man was feeling an aching headache coming his way. "And what did you mean, children?" "What children?" he asked. "Oh, it's the kids that are. KAITLYN. Smile with a halo, smile with a halo, smile with a halo, break the fourth wall any more than you already have. You'll regret what's coming to you in the next chapter. Smile with horns, smile with horns, smile with horns." Caitlyn gulped. "You know what? Forget what I said." She suppressed a shiver that was caused by the author, and prayed. "Instead of praying, you should pay more attention to the old guy in front of you." Listening to the author, Caitlyn realized the Hokage was staring at her questionably, since he was unable to hear the author. "Are you alright?" he asked in concern. "Yeah, don't mind me. I got lost in thought for a second. Anyway, I'm not very satisfied with Danzo's punishment," she finally said, causing the old man to frown. "But you're the Hokage, it is your decision. So I will not go against you on the matter any further." "You have my thanks," she nodded at him. On another note, she paused for a sec. "Sasuke, please let me look after him." Sarutobi leaned forward, resting his chin on his hands, staring up at her. He contemplated on it, until in memory came to him. "Please keep Sasuke safe." They were quiet until a sigh escaped from old lips. "You have my permission," he finally decided. If anyone can keep Sasuke safe, it would be her. "Thanks, old man." Afterwards, Caitlyn left the third Hokage's office, ninja style, much to the old geezer's misfortune. "There are doors for a reason," he mentally sobbed. With Sasuke and Naruto, two panting boys were laying on the green grass, while a long-haired tomboy bent down and smiled at them. With a poof of her hand, 2 bottles of water appeared and she handed them to the boys. With grateful smiles, they both take the cool liquid drinks. "After you two finish your drinks, she paused and turned her head in a different direction from the boys. "What's wrong?" Sasuke asked. Oh, I just got a message. It seems we can go back now." "We'll rest first then go back, okay." The two nodded and rested for 2 minutes. After, they walked back to the apartment. When they arrived, the clone disappeared and the 2 boys were left at the front of the door. Naruto made an attempt to open the door, but before he could, it already opened. "Welcome back," Caitlyn greeted with a gentle smile. Even though they were just with a shadow clone of her, Naruto couldn't help himself but smile like no tomorrow. Sasuke in his own way was feeling the same as Naruto, once seeing her at the door. "Come on you two, stop staring and start coming inside," she ushered them. Once inside, the 2 boys gasped with fish-like faces, causing Caitlyn to grin. The kitchen was the same when they stepped inside, but every other room was completely different. For one, the sitting room was somehow bigger, with a nice long couch and in front of it a coffee table. There were armchairs as well on the opposite sides of the table. Then there were the rooms. If memory serves Sasuke right, there was only one room in Naruto's apartment, which he and Caitlyn shared. But right now he can clearly see 2 rooms. The one Naruto and Caitlyn shared was slightly the same, but still, it was also different. It was bigger than before, and now has 2 single beds in each corner. He also saw his own stuff laid out on one side of the room, just waiting to be unpacked. "Now you two are going to have to share a room, okay?" she said out front, then pointed to the room next door to theirs. That room wasn't there before, Naruto and Sasuke thought questionably. "This room next door is mine, okay?" she declared, then looked them. "This is going to be new for all of us, I know that, but I want us to get along, so that's why I had you two share a room. You don't want to keep sharing the same room with little old boring me. Boring? You literally held a festival on April Fools. The two boys' mentally sweat dropped, but didn't do on it for long, when two arms wrapped around them, holding them up off the ground. They struggled against the arms they knew belonged to Caitlin, but even though they struggled, they enjoyed the feeling of warmth. I've always wanted a little sibling, but now I have two. This is a time to celebrate. The long-haired Ravenet cheered. Let's go have ramen. Naruto yelled in excitement while Sasuke just shrugged, saying he was fine with it. Ichiraiku tonight. And with that said, she carried the two boys outside of the apartment to celebrate at Ichiriku's for Sasuke's moving-in party. No one's pav. Walking along the streets of Konoha, Caitlin wore her usual bright red vest. It was early in the morning and her two new little brothers, which only she refers to them as that, were off to the academy like usual, though because of Naruto's absence he had bookloads of work to do, which she helped him with. Even Sasuke helped. She was on her way to the Junin standby station until she came past a bookstore. Now usually she could go to the library for a book, but if anything, keeping a book and not returning it sounds better to her. Plus she could have something better to do in her free time than drawing and napping, not that her naps last very long, thanks to a duck butt and whiskered blonde. Making her decision, she walked into the store and was welcomed by the lady at the cash register. Giving her a gentle smile, Caitlin responded to her with a simple, "Thank you," and "Good morning." Unknown to the Ravenet, but when she turned her back to explore, the woman blushed at the smile, thinking to herself that it was the most angelic one she has ever seen. Caitlin found the place quite pleasant. It was divided into different sections like any other store. Some of them were divided by genres or authors, while most seemed to be ninja scrolls, containing taijutsu, genjutsu, and ninjutsu techniques. She ventured around trying to see if there was a book or two she might want to keep until she spotted a mop of familiar gravity-defying gray hair. "Hi Kakashi," she spoke up loud enough for the man to hear. Turning his attention away from his book, he smiled at the Ravenet. "Oh Caitlin, what brings you here?" "I was looking around for a book I could read during my free time." The masked ninja nodded at her answer. "What you reading?" Caitlin asked, innocently curious since she sees the man read most of the time. "Oh, this here is my very favorite book, a new edition of Icha Icha." "What's it about?" She tilted her head in wonder. And the man, having no shame at all, was just about to tell her the obvious truth of it being porn, until a random scroll was tossed and hit the copy nin on the side of his face. Blinking in confusion at the sudden scene, Caitlin turned her head towards the front desk, where the lady at the cash register was. The woman had a dark aura surrounding her, but a smile plastered on her face. "I'm so sorry for that, sir, my hand slipped." Kakashi laughed uneasy after looking directly in the woman's eyes. Through them, he read, "Pollute that innocent child's mind with your filth, you'll find yourself at the bottom of a grave." Caitlin, despite being the ever-observant and watchful person she was, couldn't understand at all. Instead, she shrugged it off as an accident and helped the one-eyed man. As she helped the man to his feet, Caitlin gazed at the section that Kakashi was hovering over. Walked towards the shelf containing stacks of Icha Icha or other books. Kakashi, fearing the woman at the cash register might throw some more books at him or worse ban him from the store, tried to stop Caitlin. Wait, Tale of the Utterly Gutsy Shinobi Him. This sounds like a cool book. Caitlin smiled at it and walked past a frozen Kakashi towards the nice cashier lady. "I would like to buy this book, please." Nodding at the request, the woman did her job and Caitlin paid for the book with glee. Afterwards, she left the store with Kakashi and they made their way to the Junin standby station. Though it couldn't be left unsaid that Kakashi didn't leave without another warning glare. Compressing himself from shivering, the man walked on, noting to himself not to get on that woman's bad side again, if possible. Entering a room located in the station, Caitlin headed towards the couch in the corner and sat down to read her new book. Kakashi followed suit and started reading his Icha Icha book. I didn't actually know that Kakashi read that kind of books until 2016. "Kurenai, did you hear about the rumors?" "What rumors?" A certain red-eyes woman with wavy black hair questioned towards her purple-haired friend with a ponytail. "I heard this rumor of a shinobi with silver eyes took down an entire army of ninjas, single-handed." "Wow, really?" "Yeah, but that's not all. They even say that this shinobi also accomplished multiple A and S rank missions, and captured high-ranking rogue nin from the bingo book." No way. And they did all this single-handed? Anko nodded her head furiously, answering her red eyes friend with a yes. But that's not even the most shocking part. They said that this guy is a leaf ninja. What? I know. But I've never heard of anybody with silver eyes. There is no such person here. She expressed by throwing her arms in the air. I've tried to search for anyone with silver eyes but there is no one. What about that new prodigy? What? Haven't you heard? She stopped to face the Dongo lover fully. Remember a while back, there was an incident and a stranger entered our village. An outsider? Why would they keep him in the village if not in a prison cell where I would have at least seen him or heard of him? I don't know, but the Hokage was the one to certify him as a full-fledged citizen of Konoha. They then continued their way to the main room or the Junin standby station to relax. Is there any other clue to figure out this silver-eyed nin, besides, well, his eyes? Kurenai asked curiously as they spotted to the door of their destination. Well, I do think they said the guy had long black hair, a double-edged sword and maybe a red coat? They came in front of the door and opened it, casually walking in like they usually did. They seated themselves on a couch, feeling the soft comfort of its cushions and relieving the tension in their muscles, fully at ease. They sighed in content, closing their eyes to savor it. Finally, Kurenai opened her eyes and drifted her gaze across the room until two figures came into eyesight. One she recognized instantly as Kakashi because of his gray hair, but the other. A kid? She realized after seeing their small stature and young face. Focusing closely, even squinting in the process, to identify this person. Long black hair in a braid, wearing a bright red vest and has a sheathed sword tied to the back of their belt. A minute passed, with Kurenai just staring at the fellow Ravenet with a donned expression. Anko, she tapped her companion on the shoulder, trying to gain her attention. What is Kurenai? I want to sleep. She opened an eye to gaze at her dazed friend. Pointing her finger in a direction, Anko followed it to the couch on the corner end of the room to find two occupants. One she knew as Kakashi and the other. Reading the contents of the book in her hand, Caitlin was beyond mesmerized. The story was fascinating and held great hope. Unfortunately, she could tell that this book didn't sell much, but to her it was amazing. The main protagonist, conveniently named Naruto, trying to find true peace while enduring pain and hardships, but never giving up. Caitlin was a sucker for many things and a few of them being heroes, idiots, and underdogs. But now she held a thought about true peace. It's not that she hasn't had the thought before, there were many times and many situations where the question was asked or thought of. And what she has discovered, in her own opinion, is that peace is frail but very much possible. She has seen it, communities, countries, worlds where peace was achieved but always at a price. Lives were lost, most of them being her friends risking everything to find it. And then there were the small fragments of peace which not many people see, like a child's first laugh, a mother's warm touch, a father's strong embrace, a friend's encouraging words, a family's love. Peace to her were the basics: family, friends and lover. She knew a lot about the first two, but the third, well, she's never really thought much about it. Sure, there were a lot of times she'd played matchmaker, but it would never apply to herself. She read the book slowly, taking her time to fully enjoy it. It's you. Wincing at the loud volume, Caitlin stopped her reading, rubbing her poor ear. Turning her gaze around towards the source of the noise, she gazed upon a duo, one with black wavy hair and red eyes and the other a purple-haired woman with black eyes pointing in her general direction. Blinking, obviously confused. Are they talking about me? You're the one I've been looking for, the purple-haired woman announced. Now staring into the woman's eyes, Caitlin could tell only one thing she had to do. Run. Letting her instincts take control, Caitlin dashed off the couch and out the window in an instant, her entire being saying that woman is best not to deal with yet. Kakashi's Pav. As I was reading on how Haku would finally make his move to approach Mei, completely made the names up, a loud voice interrupted my concentration. Irritated at the moment being ruined, I turned to the direction of the outburst, just to find Anko. What could it be this time? It's not uncommon for Anko to make a scene, but really, I was just about to get to the good part, damn it. Looking at her, I could see she's pointing her finger in my direction, how rude, but not at me. You're the one I've been looking for, she exclaimed, changing my attention towards the only possible person she could be referring to. Glancing at, I couldn't help remember Anko's search for the silver-eyed ninja. But Caitlyn has brown eyes? Not silver. Maybe Anko changed her mind and gave up on finding this silver-eyed guy? If so, Caitlyn, I wish you the best of luck. No one's pav. As Kakashi mentally gave his remorse, the ravenet was already out the window. The brat is getting away. The snake woman wasted no time and ran for the same window in order to chase down the ravenet for a little chat. Anko, wait. Stop. Kurenai tried, but Anko was already moving. Hurry up, Kurenai, before he gets away. And so the two were out chasing after a ravenet with braided hair. One of them wanting to challenge and maybe torture them for her own curiosity, while the other tagged along in hopes of saving the kid from a terrible experience. Once the lady duo were gone, Kakashi sighed. I'd hate to be on the end of Anko's curiosity. You're telling me, widening his eyes only to catch Caitlyn in his unsuspecting sight. How did you? Shadow clone. She simply said, it's easy to fool someone with them. Re-entering through the window, Caitlyn gave a sigh of relief, but that was a close one. Who is that lady anyway? That would be Anko, he stated plainly, and the other is Kurenai. Why were they trying to get me? What did I do? As far as I know, I've never met them. The ravenet voiced out her confusion. Anko has a habit of interrogating rumors that catches her interest and see if they're true. While Kurenai, she gets dragged into it. He explained while Caitlyn gave an, ooh, astonished face, expression. Turning his attention back to his book, he continued on to explain further, there have been rumors of a shinobi with silver eyes, and Anko was looking for him. Caitlyn shifted slightly, but it was so small, the copy nin didn't notice. Really? She expressed, but I don't have silver eyes? Mine are brown, she stated, pointing her index finger at her clearly brown orbs. That's exactly what's confusing me. Maybe she gave up on finding them and heard a rumor of the new ninja in Konoha. He looked back at the tomboy with a cheeky aura. Well, that sucks, but what are these rumors about a silver-eyed ninja anyway? Brown eyes stared at the gray-haired man, curiously. From what I've heard so far, this guy managed to accomplish quite a lot in a short amount of time. The copy nin started, like defecting an army of ninjas single-handed, for example. Rumors that seem just as impossible as they sound. The masked nin explained, so you don't think it's true? Can't say it's a 50-50 chance of being truth or lies. They even gave him a name. Raising a brow, Caitlyn gave him a curious look. What do they call him? Taking his eyes from his reading, Kakashi stared back at the raven. They call him the Silver-Eyed Reaper. The two continued to converse about random subjects, mainly things that Caitlyn wasn't so sure of as of yet, while laughs and small arguments were also exchanged, shocking the few shinobis that walked by. Never have they ever seen Kakashi be so sociable with someone ever. He even put down his book to talk with the raven sitting next to him, and that was no easy feat. To Kakashi, something about the raven just seems to put him at ease. He's not if it the warm aura that seems to follow her, or the bright glow in her eyes. Eyes that, despite the host's young appearance, look like they have seen so much that would have made any normal person go insane. And yet, they still hold an image of innocence and hope. But of course, he had his doubts about the kid when they first meet. Trusting some whose origins and past you have no knowledge of is a dangerous game, and he's seen too many alleys fall due to this. But in the end, trust has been made between them, and Kakashi has no reason to distrust the raven after the few missions they've had together. Everything was going fine until... Youth. Oh no. The gray-haired shinobi sighed as the raven beside him to raise a brow at both him and the loud voice. And as Kakashi dreaded, suspected, Konoha's sublime green beast of prey made his appearance. We meet again. Kakashi, my good old rival, exclaimed the green spandex-wearing man, striking his well-known famous pose. Sparkles and glitter surrounded the man, and it wasn't Caitlyn's doing this time. The two stared, Kakashi with a deadpan gaze, while Caitlyn seemed to be concentrating hard on something. A light bulb clicked in Caitlyn's mind. Oh, I know you. You're my guy, right? She pointed out, and the bowl-cut man grinned at her. Haha, it seems my youthful reputation has even caught the ears of the younger generation. He exclaimed proudly. Kakashi told me about you once before. Rising on her feet. My name is Caitlyn Grieg. It's nice to meet you. She gave him a small smile, sticking her hand out. The man took her offered hand with a lot of enthusiasm. Kakashi worried for her arm and if it would break. The spirit of youth is strong in you, Greg-kun. The bushy brow man showed his unbelievably white teeth. Guy, what do you want? Kakashi questioned, trying to direct the eccentric mont's attention away from the raven, whose arm is showing signs of turning to jello. Haha, Kakashi, my youthful rival, have you forgotten the day of our weekly challenges? He struck another pose. When I win, that will put me in the lead 3 points. The white, gray-haired man sighed. Okay fine, how about rock paper scissors? He raised from his seat. We did that the last time 10 times, Kakashi. I suggest we race from here to the main gate. Brighter sparkles started radiating from him, and Caitlin had the foresight to place sunglasses on from where? Who knows? Before Kakashi could refuse the overly energetic man, another familiar face made his presence known. I see you guys are at it again. A voice obviously male spoke with familiarity, while also sounding tired and lazy. The two men and Caitlin turned to the speaker and saw another man with a scar and high ponytail to tie back his neck-length hair. From Caitlin's observation, the man had a slouch in his posture and looked startling like a little pineapple kid she knows. Oh, Shikaku-san, I thought you were at some important meeting with some of the clan heads? Kakashi, always the informative one, was so happy for a distraction from Guy, but never showed it from neither facial expressions or vocal tone. Nah, the meeting was cut short due to something I don't know what, but I just wanted to leave that place as soon as possible, so I left. He explained, but yawned once again, leaving Kakashi to laugh dryly at him and Caitlin to raise an amused brow, while also smirking. He may be even lazier than me. So what brings you here, Shikaku-san? Guy was the one to ask, finding an opportunity to enter the conversation. The Nara clan head simply shrugged his shoulders and raised a shogi board, which the three didn't notice he was holding until now. I wanted to find a partner here. Shikamaru is still in the academy, and no one would challenge me back home. Caitlin didn't find anything wrong with his answer, but one look at Kakashi and Guy, she knew something was wrong. Both males started to sweat and tense when the lazy man finished, leaving Caitlin to wonder if she's missing something. Hey Kakashi, you want to? Oh sorry Shikaku-san, but Guy and me have plans to race to the main gate, so I can't. But Caitlin-kun here wouldn't mind to challenge you. Caitlin's head whipped to face Kakashi the instant his finished. Wait a minute here dude, I never agreed to this. Before she could vocalize her complaints, the mask and helmet headcut were gone, leaving a confused and slightly annoyed Ravenet to the other Ravens company. What the hell? She's just outright dumbstruck now. Are you Caitlin-kun? Turning towards the remaining male within 5 feet of the couch she is still occupying. Standing again, she took off her sunglasses and reached out her hand, using proper manners again when meeting new people. It probably won't stick for long though. Yup, she presented a childlike grin. Hi, I'm Caitlin, Caitlin Gregg, nice to meet you. The Nara head accepted her hand for a firm shake. Shikaku Nara, good to meet you Gregg-kun. The two didn't notice the other occupants within the room were backing up slowly towards the door, silently praying for the Nara head not to look back. You're new around here? The clan chief questioned, raising a slightly lazy brow at the kid. Caitlin saw that even if his demeanor looked casual, his eyes held suspicion and curiosity. Yeah, I've only lived here for a couple of months now. A poker face held strong as she spoke. I see, how do you like this village of ours so far? The man pressed on, taking increasing interest now. Shrugging, Caitlin took a moment of thought. It's alright, I don't have much problems with this place. It's peaceful, and has beautiful sceneries with a lovely plant life. You don't have much problems with the place? Does that mean there are problems? Shikaku, the ever-keen man he was, pointed out. Instead of the reactions he was used to, all he got out of the kid was an enigmatic smile. Let's play, yes? Blinking for a moment, Shikaku nodded and directed to a table they could use. Shikaku was thrown for a loop. I'll just see what information I can get once we play then. That's all for my now. If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments.